Stop the nonsense. There's no way you part with a guy that has been synonymous with your organization and you think you're going to replace him. For anybody trying to push that narrative, I'm not trying to call your football acumen. I'm just saying stop.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Exclusively on ESPN, Pickleball Slam 4 is here, and the competition's getting fiercer.
I've won every slam there is.
It's over, old man. Step aside.
Up and two.
Roger.
Andre Agassi, Eugene
Ready for the worst day ever?
James Blake, and Pickleball World number
How so?
1, Anna Lee
No,
Waters.
just Monday sucks and this sucks.
We're
It'll
solving
take you 5
problems here,
minutes
pal.
to be
Okay,
Agassi.
look at it that way.
Pickleball Slam
Let's
4,
do it.
Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
The 2026 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
So you ready for the draft? Let's get started.
Live from the North Shore of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
You know, I have a unique blend of athleticism and size at this position.
All the teams are sitting there just absolutely licking their chops. He doesn't have the big-time arm strength. He's good, not elite.
The 2026 NFL Draft.
The Las Vegas Raiders select
Thursday, April 23rd through Saturday, April 25th on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors. Amber and Ian.
Apparently, Mendoza is going to stay home. He's not going to actually be there for the draft. So the NFL draft has become such an event, and you don't have the guaranteed, essentially, number 1 overall pick.
If he wants to be with family, that's his prerogative. The NFL draft as an event has become coveted. And I don't have a problem with Mendoza
But that is
at
why
all.
I am torn on it, because of what it is now.
Amber and Ian. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Sundays are for the NWSL on ESPN. For world-class action.
How much do you love this game?
For the 2-time MVP magic.
Tim Washawinga, is this her moment? You better believe it!
For the passion of the ride or die.
Just absolutely crazy, crazy scene.
It's the NWSL you love.
Look, this is the place to be.
NWSL Sundays on ESPN, presented by Ally. Also streaming on the ESPN app.
Wichita's news sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM, KKGQ, Newton. This is the Shane Dennis Show on the new ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
Another Monday, another week, another show. Shane Dennis Show, as the man said, it's episode 1196. Happy noontime. Happy 1196 episode of the show here today. Jack Johnson alongside, running things, guiding the ship. As we join you here yet another weekday. If you're new to the station or new to the show, welcome. Hopefully we will keep you hooked here for the next couple of hours or the majority of it as we guide you through your work week. We appreciate you stopping on by. If you are a returner or a regular, love you. Thanks for hanging out. And we will do our best to keep you if we haven't already hooked you. Here are a couple of ways that over the next couple of hours, if you want to engage in some sports back and forth, we got some ways for you to do it. We got a hotline, we got a text line, and we've got every single possible way for you to listen to the show either now or whenever it best suits you. First, we have a text line, and it's a new number if you're a veteran listener to the show. And if you've been away for a week or so, because it's been about a week now since we have replaced the old text line with this one. This is the active hot text line, 316-666 2285. 666-2285 with the area code 316. That's how you text us. That's how you get with us to get to me, Pat Strathman. He hosts the Pulse from 2 to 4. He sees those texts. Our 2 employees other than me and Pat, they see them too, actually. Our AE, Zach, he sees them. And our brand new employee, Jackson, this is his first day. He's going to see your text. So tell him hi if you want. 316-666-2285. We give away things on the text line. We interact on the text line. If you say something funny, or if you're on topic and you got a point or a question or something like that, or if we got an interview coming up, here's an important part of that text line too. If you know ahead of time that we got an interview coming up and you want us to ask that particular person a question, worth a shot. 666-2285. If you want to call, and heads up for the 2 to 4 slot with old Pat, we're going to crank up the lotto ticket giveaway again. So we will be asking for your phone calls this week and beyond to give some things away on the hotline, 316-669-4996. That's the hotline. Also, want to reiterate and maybe start to really stress our app. Download it. ESPN Wichita, go to the App Store, download it, regardless what kind of phone you have. We are going to begin to give away things if you have downloaded our app. All right. So it will benefit you not only to listen to our shows through the app. Number one, you can take us with you wherever you go. So it doesn't matter if you have an internet connection or inside the radio listening area here in South Central Kansas. If you got the app, you can hear us wherever, whenever, and you can also win app-specific things. So download our app for your chance to win Banana Ball tickets, among other things. So if you like Banana Ball, and a bunch of you out there do, highly recommend you download our app. More information on that in the near future. Smart speaker, if you got one of those, tell it to play KKGQ 92.3 if you're puttering around the house. If you're working and you're able to stream as you work, ESPNWichita.com. Click listen live. Listen to us there. In your car, in said listening area, 92.3 FM. Make us your preset one. Download our app. Also, live stream the show. All right. Follow us on X. Watch us on X. Follow us on Facebook. Watch us there. And subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch us there. We are live streaming every time we're at our Equity Bank Park studio, and that is me today. Texter says, I think Banana Ball is stupid, but unfortunately I'm dragging my kids to it, just so you know what my stance is. Hey, listen, that was my stance on Banana Ball to begin with too, but man, I'm in the minority. People are nutty about Banana Ball, and it's coming here next month. And I promise you there won't be a seat to be had by the time they get here. So if your kids, your kids are strong arming you, or your buddies or whatever, Banana Ball is real and it isn't going anywhere. And it actually is coming here in a few weeks. So download our app and be heads up for your opportunity to try to get qualified to go see Banana Ball here before too long. We are at our Equity Bank Park studio. It is April 13th. It's the 103rd day of the year, 262 days left in 2026. Headed for a high today of 87 degrees here in Wichita. Lots and lots of things to look forward to and get you up to date on since it's a Monday. So many things happened over the weekend, some good, some bad. And you baseball lovers, rejoice, because this is going to be a baseball intensive show today. We're going to solve some problems. We're going to celebrate some folk. We're going to crown some, fictitious crown, players of the week, and also alert you to multiple giveaways that we got going, and Pat will give away some lottery tickets. Spoiler. So if you want to crank that back up again, make sure to be listening to the Pulse 2 to 4. I will hook you up in the next day or so when it comes to this time slot. And keeping in mind also, before we get into Jack's moment of levity, on Wednesday, I, weather permitting, will be giving way to Wind Surge Baseball yet again. Got a home game against the Springfield Cardinals on Wednesday, starting at 11:05. So assuming the weather holds, and I think it's supposed to, but you never know, I'll be at the ready just in case it clouds up. But if it doesn't, you got Wind Surge Baseball, 11:05 on Wednesday. First game of a 6-game series starting tomorrow with coverage right here on the channel starting at 6. And also, we will be talking to Nico Geritano, brand new skipper, tomorrow. So he's kind of taking the baton from old Dink from last year. We're going to make every effort, every homestand to talk to the Wind Surge skipper, as we did last year with Brian Dinkelman. We were very, very appreciative of Dink last year talking Surge baseball once a homestand. We're going to try to do the same thing with Nico this year. So if you like Wind Surge baseball, if you like baseball in general, we'll have a lot of baseball talk at least once a homestand, and the Surge coming off a 6-game split at Arkansas. And so we'll give you that to look forward to, and a lot of baseball talk here in this particular show today. All right. We'll get into the specifics here in a second. But first, we need our producer and show contributor, Jack Johnson, to tell us a joke. Start us, Jack.
Some people say the grass doesn't get wet in the morning, but it do.
Was interested to see where that one was going. It's National Scrabble Day, National Make Lunch Count Day, Peach Cobbler Day. Hell yeah. National Thomas Jefferson Day. 7 days to tell you about tomorrow when we get there. It's Thomas Jefferson Day because it's his born day, 1740. Jack, layup, trivia. What number president was Tom Jefferson?
5.
Close. 3. Apparently not. How many in order can you give me? 1?
I don't think we want to do that.
Who was the first president? Come on.
George Washington.
All right. We'll stop there. Let's see. Butch Cassidy, born day, 1866. And let's see here. Tony Dow, actor fondly remembered for his role as Wally on Leave It to Beaver. He's dead. Max Weinberg, drummer for Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, 75 today. There is April 13 for you. Lucky number 13. A couple days away from tax day, too, by the way. Spoiler. All right, here's what we're going to talk about today. I don't want to go as far as I need to eat my words or crow, but there's a feeling of it in this first segment coming up. And those of you that listen to the show pretty regularly, you probably have a good idea where it's going, considering what Wichita State did this weekend. So we'll talk about the old Shocks, not only baseball, but softball here in the first segment. Tell you where they are setting as far as the standings about halfway through the season. We will keep the baseball talk going in segment number 2, as the Royals had a kind of an underwhelming 4-game series against the White Sox. They get today off before heading to Detroit, and missing Tarek Skubal, although it's not exactly the kind of news. It's good news when you don't have to face a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. But the two guys they are going to have to face Tuesday and Wednesday, no picnic either. And what can we do about the lineup? We'll talk about that at 12:25. Instead of being bogged down with the Royals offense stinking right now and being 7-9, we're going to solve some problems. We're going to switch around the lineup and see what is possible for Matt Quatrero, in case he's listening. We'll talk about that at 12:25. At the end of hour number 1, as usual, we'll have the Twitter questions brought to you by Ribbit Computers. And then Player of the Week. I got a bunch of Players of the Week nominations at 1 o'clock. So there'll be multiple POWs the good way, brought to you by PHP Law. That's coming up at 1 o'clock. And then one of the hottest teams in the country, college baseball, the Kansas Jayhawks. We'll talk to Dan Fitzgerald, their head coach. Not only are they on the top of the heap in the Big 12, they play Wichita State tomorrow in Lawrence. So we'll talk a little Shockers in hour 1, talk a little Jayhawks in hour 2 with the Jayhawk head man, Dan Fitzgerald. And then at 1:45-ish, we will talk to Jack, kind of. And we'll talk to Pat, sort of. I'm old Jack Young. That segment. If you're unfamiliar with it, highly recommend. It's a little wheels off. It's a little no guardrails, but it's a whole lot of fun, and we like it. It's called the IOJY. April 13 version. That comes your way at the end of the show. We'll have a little crosstalk with Pat. He'll be sitting here with us. And then we'll hand you off to the Pulse from 2 to 4. Text line, interesting query. See, these are kind of the things that get read on air. 316-666-2285. We hired a new guy. We replaced Chance, or we hired a guy to do what Chance used to do, and we hope he grabs the baton and takes it. But a texter says, what's the initiation for the new guy? That's a good question. Nothing's happened yet. I'll divulge what I know and what I can tell you. We had a meeting about 3 hours ago, and all got to know each other. The guy's name's Jackson Schneider. We welcome him. We're thrilled to have him. And we also have some representation from Kansas City here. Our fearless leaders from KC, one of them came down here. So he's here. Jackson's here on his first day. Myself, Pat, and our AE, Zach. That was the old staff meeting at 8:30. Little meet and greet. Staff meeting as usual every morning or every Monday at 9. That happened. And then he was off to get his feet wet, get his email address taken care of. He's on the text line now. So he sees that texter. Jackson does. So maybe he'll answer when something happens to him. We haven't done anything to him yet. We're still workshopping that. So we'll take suggestions if there's some sort of initiation / hazing with old Jackson, but nothing's happened yet. All right. There's your show for Monday, April 13. We welcome your participation as always. And thank you, texter, for that text. A huge Shocker weekend. Both hardball teams for the Shocks impressed. We'll start with the softball team because they were finished up early thanks to predicted inclement weather, which on Sunday didn't really come, but whatever. Shocker softball team swept UTSA on Saturday and swept the series. They win Saturday in a run rule 12-4, and then later on 3-1. So Christy Breadbender's team is now 24-15, 12-6 overall in the American. Second conference series sweep of the year. 5 wins in a row now for the Shocker softball team. And they sweep the Roadrunners out of town. So now the softball team is in third place in the American, all by their lonesome. They are 2 games clear of Charlotte, 1 game back of second, 2 games back of South Florida, which is in the lead. Shockers have already played South Florida, already played North Texas. They play Charlotte next. So they have an opportunity to really distance themselves, depending on what happens with East Carolina this weekend too, from the rest of the pack. They can make it a 3-horse race. Wichita State can. If they win the series against Charlotte, at the very least, they would have a 3-game lead over the 49ers and more than that over everybody else in the league. Still chasing North Texas, still chasing South Florida, but Christy Breadbender's team is in really good shape right now. And looking forward, actually, they haven't played North Texas. I take that back. They are at Denton next weekend. So you talk about a chance to make a little hay. The softball team if they could take care of business at Charlotte. Now it's back-to-back road trips. So this is going to be nitty-gritty time. But if they take care of Charlotte this weekend and the North Texas the weekend after that, you never know. Got a real chance to end up in second place. And they end up with Memphis, who year after year is in the basement, and they are again this year. Memphis is 3-15 in the league. So that's what Wichita State softball has left. Trip to Charlotte. They have a 2-game lead over the 49ers. Then a trip to North Texas. As of right this second, they are 1 game behind the Mean Green. That is down in Denton. And then WSU ends up with Memphis. So pretty much everything is right there in front of the softball team after a sweep of UTSA. And the Roadrunners came to Wichita 8-7 in the league. So they were right there with Wichita State at the time, but not anymore. Baseball, color me impressed. Shocker baseball team took 2 out of 3 from UAB and did it the hard way. They lost the first game, took the next 2, including yesterday 10-2. UAB hadn't lost a home series all year. They came into the weekend winners of 7 straight. They won the first game of the series. And then Wichita State, that was a gritty Saturday game, boy. Let me tell you, it was an extra inning win, 5-4. It was a game where they were hanging on by their fingernails going to the bottom of the 8th. Brady Pescia kept them in the lead, only to give up the tying run in the bottom of the 9th. But then Wichita State got one in the 10th. Pescia stranded the tying run on base in the bottom of the 10th. Even the series at 1 game apiece. And then yesterday blew open a close game late, scored a bunch of runs in the last 2 innings. And Johnny Nuanez, we'll talk about him more later. But between Nuanez and Pescia on the hill, Jacob Gutierrez continues to do nothing but hit at the plate. And Nolan Ganter picked a fine time for his finest hour. He homered twice yesterday, his first 2 times that he's gone deep this year. And the Shockers turned a 3-2 lead after 7 into a 10-2 win with 4 in the 8th and 3 in the 9th. Now, a little bit of bad news that Jason Jones' 25-game hit streak went by the boards on Friday. But more importantly than that, they got 3 really good pitching performances on Saturday between Dax Sharp, Brady Hamilton, and Pescia. And then Johnny Nuanez yesterday pitched into the 7th inning with a shutout. He gave up a home run to A.J. Pierzynski's kid to make it 3-2 after 7. But then you talk about punching all the right buttons. Brian Green did just that in the game yesterday. Starting lineup was a little weird. It didn't have Jaden Gustafson in it. It had Jacob Gutierrez leading off, Jack Quick batting second. Nolan Ganter, he of the about 55 at bats, hitting cleanup with no home runs. But there was a pinch double by Caleb Duncan, a pinch 2-run single by Josh Wolfert. That was really the hit that let Wichita State exhale yesterday. After Nolan Ganter hit a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning, he had another 2-run home run in the 4th, and then Wolfert with a 2-run base hit to make it 7-2. And then Jason Jones put the icing on the cake in the 9th inning with a 3-run no-doubter to left. And Wichita State gets out of Birmingham with a 2-1 series victory, bouncing back from a disappointing series loss at home against Tulane. And their reward is a trip to Lawrence to take on the Kansas Jayhawks, who are 26-10 and winners of 10 straight. So 2 teams with their arrow pointed up right now, Wichita State. And I will not go so far as to say that I thought they'd get swept, but I'll be honest. I did not think Wichita State was going to win the series in Birmingham, but they did just that. And that was on the heels of a heartbreaker on Friday because they had the tying run on base when Nolan Ganter got a base hit in the ninth. And then Ganter tried to stretch a single into a double. He was thrown out at second. That was the final out of the game. And you talk about a gut punch. You got a chance to catch and maybe overtake the Blazers in game one of the series. Instead, you get thrown out on the paths, a little toot bland. But then you win 5-4 and 10 the next day, and you truck them on Sunday, 10-2. Kudos, Shocker baseball. Kudos, Shocker softball. Very successful weekend on the ball fields for the old Shocks. And so Wichita State baseball comes home to take on number 21 Kansas in Lawrence. Actually, comes back to Kansas. They're on their way back today. They'll go to Lawrence tomorrow for a 6 o'clock first pitch. I think 6. Let me double check on that for you. But take on Kansas in Lawrence. And then the road trip continues as the Shockers go to East Carolina. Games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Greenville. Take on the ECU Pirates. As of right now, the American standings look like this. They're jumbled mess, first of all, but in a good way, I suppose. UTSA and UAB tied for first at 8-4. Wichita State and Rice, a game back, along with East Carolina, a game back. So that Wichita State ECU series will be one of the marquee series of the weekend, as both those teams are 7-5. The winner of that series will be virtually guaranteed to be in the top 3 in the conference race. A game back at 6-6 are South Florida and Tulane, and then FAU and Memphis are tied at 4-8. So between UTSA and the 7th team in the standings, Tulane, there are 2 games separating 7 teams in the loss column. Normally, somebody's running away with it. Normally, it's either UTSA or East Carolina. Not this year. And Wichita State, after 12 games, right in the mix. Flying in the face of the WarrenNolan.com predictive analytics. But that's a good thing if you're a Shocker baseball fan, as they take 2 out of 3 for the first time this year. Somebody went into Birmingham, took a series, and that team was Wichita State. They're now 23-14 on the year, 7-5 in the league, tied with Rice for third, and only a game back of UTSA and UAB in the overall standings in the league. All right, we are off and running. We'll hear more about Johnny Nuanez coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, as we will crown our players of the week. He's one of them for sure, especially considering what the Shockers had to deal with yesterday as far as their pitching plans were concerned. More on that in the 1 o'clock hour. When we return, we'll talk Royals baseball. They split the series with the White Sox 2 games apiece. What can be done about their lineup and what can get them out of the doldrums, because they can't buy a hit with runners in scoring position? It's getting comical now. They are 7-9 on the year, even though it seems worse. So that's where I'm going to go with my angle on Royals baseball. I know it feels like they're 1-15, but they're not. They get a day off, and then they'll head to Detroit to open up a road trip in the Motor City. We'll talk about them coming up here in just a little bit. We'll also have a Twitter question. Has to do with grilling season. Weather's getting warmer. You're going to start grilling if you haven't already. We'll talk to you about that. Brought to you by Rivet Computers. Player of the week, 1 o'clock. And KU head coach Dan Fitzgerald coming up at 1:25. All that straight ahead here on a Monday. But when we come back, Royals had a mad weekend. They're pitching their butts off, but they can't hit the ball out of their shadow. What can we do about it lineup-wise? We'll talk about that next here on a Monday. It's 12:27.
You're listening to the Shane Dennis Show on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
Guys, dudes, sirs, Two things can be true at the same time. We'll never be as young as we are right now, but we can also stiff arm father time and hold off that aging process. I'll tell you how. Make an appointment with Empowering Wellness. They'll do a little lab work on you. They'll let you know all of your levels and how you're doing, including your testosterone, and then go from there with a game plan and treatment options. I'll tell you exactly what I do every Monday. I go in there, they weigh me, they take my blood pressure, they give me my testosterone treatment, and I'm off and on my way. I wasn't in there 7 minutes today. That's the kind of in and out situation you get when you go to Empowering Wellness. I initially went by there at 439 North McLean, did some lab work. We talked about my levels, and then we went from there. And they're awesome. They walk you through everything. They have great nurses and great patient relationship. They're awesome to me. And I know there will be to you too. Just because your energy levels are low, or you maybe have a little brain fog, your libido is questionable, you can't shed any weight, and maybe you struggle working out, doesn't mean you can't do anything about it. You can. Even though you're a little bit on the wrong side of 30, if you go to empoweringwellnessict.com, make an appointment, start living your best life. Get off the couch, get back in the game for whatever reason is holding you back. I did it. You can too. Go to empoweringwellnessict.com or head to 439 North McLean, Suite 204. They also have hormone therapy, weight loss, aesthetics, plenty of opportunities for you guys and gals. Look better, feel better, live better. Let Empowering Wellness help.
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
Why do winners play at Seven Plans Casinos? The numbers don't lie. From Wichita to Texas, Seven Plans has the only certified loose casino.
Hey, Jack.
As verified by Strictly Slots Magazine.
Yep. At the end of that Fitz interview, I'll take it live and pitch it right.
Plans rewards card for even more perks and offers. It's official. Seven Clans Casinos have the area's only certified loose slot.
Go Hog Wild, Pet Barbecue. Hog Wild, get some for you.
If the week's been too hectic to even think about dinner, or your family can't handle one more night of leftovers, then it's time to let Hog Wild do the cooking. Hog Wild's family packs are one heck of a good deal for a complete barbecue meal. Here's Josh Nicolette, Hog Wild partner and general manager at Harry and Rock Road.
When you stop by for a Hog Wild family pack, we'll send you home with all the smoked meats, tasty sides, buns, and sauces you need to feed your family a complete meal. And best of all, family packs are priced right to feed groups of 4, 8, 12, or 16 people.
Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 6 locations in Wichita, also in Derby, El Dorado, Hutchinson, and Salina.
Go Hog Wild, Pit Barbecue. Hog Wild, get some for you. But don't be late, we close at 8.
Every day is a great day at the Fairfield Inn & Suites, Wichita downtown. With over 1,000 Fairfields worldwide, they rank in the top 20% for cleanliness and service. Located at Kellogg and Main in the Waterwalk District, they are centrally located. Providing exceptional service is their thing. And make sure to enjoy a hot breakfast buffet with every stay. Let them be your home away from home. Fairfield Inn & Suites, Wichita downtown by Marriott. Wichita's hidden gem.
In Kansas, truth is told in speed, wide open, full bore, and no mercy. Season momentum earned 3 and 4 wide. Loud, intense, inches predicting outcomes. Blink and miss.
They bang sideways.
What just happened? Pure speed whipping across the plains.
Hell yeah, boys!
NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, April 18th and 19th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Your radio home of the Kansas Jayhawks, the Wichita Wind Surge, the Dallas Cowboys, the Wichita Open, the college football playoffs, and the national championship, the World Series, the NBA playoffs, the Big 12 championship, and the best coverage of the Chiefs, Royals, Jayhawks, Wildcats, and Shockers. Locally owned and operated. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
The great Al Green, born day today. 12:33 here on a Monday. Shane and Jack with you, talking a little baseball. Had some good news in the first segment if you like Wichita State. If you like Wichita State and the Royals, well, got a little mixed bag for you because not as good news when it comes to the Royals. Although, if you really want to try to, I don't know, hypnotize yourself into having a good week, it's a Monday. You know, that's not always the best thing. But if you like the Royals and you want to go glass half full, I feel like I can get you there. You're 7-9. And while that is not great, that is also good enough, in air quotes, to be 2 games out of first place. The suddenly hot Minnesota Twins and the Cleveland Guardians are both 9-7. The Royals and Tigers, who KC plays next, both 7-9. And the White Sox are 6-10. Royals just got done playing the White Sox. 4-game series. They split at the K. They played 3 pitchers duel type games in the first 3. All that ended up in a 2-0 score. And then the game yesterday ended up 6-5. And the Royals came up on the short end of that particular stick. Now, there's a lot to get through if you really want to go through everything at bat by at bat. And certainly there aren't, it's not all bad news because they're 7-9. But part of the problem with the glass half full part of this is that it's probably not going to last forever. And that is the dominance of the starting pitching with Noah Cameron's start notwithstanding. The starting pitching has been brilliant. Up until yesterday, I think it was, they had like a 2.84 starting rotation ERA. That's a little unsustainable. And that maybe is why you're experiencing heartburn, saying, well, God, we're 7-9 and our starting pitcher is doing that. But when it comes to what they have to look forward to moving forward, starting tomorrow, they got a trip to Detroit. They will miss Tarek Skubal, who pitched yesterday. But the bad news is they will get Framber Valdez. He's scheduled to go tomorrow. And then Jack Flaherty scheduled to go in game 2 of the series. So what can be done about this offense? And if you're not familiar, the offense currently, when it comes to the American League, they are in the fairly important team offensive categories, are somewhere between 11th and 13th in the American League when it comes to slugging, batting average, on base, and OPS of the 15-team American League. The White Sox are down there at the bottom, but the Royals are somewhere in the lower third in all those categories. I don't know exactly what the Royals are with runners in scoring position, but I would venture to say they're in dead last because they've gone through a 1 for 30-something skid. 1 for their last 30-something. They got one in there yesterday with a runner in scoring position. And it was one of those cases where the pitching staff failed them yesterday. Noah Cameron wasn't at his best, and the bullpen had a hard time throwing strikes. And they lose the game 6-5 and split the series with the White Sox 2-2. Now, what can be done about this when it comes to juggling the lineup? Not a lot when it comes to who's actually in the lineup. Where you put them can be manipulated, of course. And that's up to Matt Quatrero to do that. He has famously, in his tenure, or infamously, I guess, in his tenure as Royal skipper, not had a hard time at all juggling 6, 7, 8, and 9, moving guys around, buying guys days off, and doing everything he can to try to maximize the bottom part of the order. But one thing that has been in the past until fairly deep into the season is the top 4 have generally been sacred cows and untouchable. The exception to that being when Jonathan India was leading off and it was painfully obvious that he wasn't cutting the mustard, Q finally pulled the plug on him batting first, but it took a while. And what has been set in stone in the first 16 games so far this year has been the top 3, well, top 4 actually, in the Royals order. Michael Garcia, Bobby Witt Jr., and then Vinny, then Salvi, and then it gets a little bit in flux. Problem is the 3 and 4 hole hitters, Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez, aren't combined hitting 300, I don't think. And if they are, it's just barely. I mean, those guys are off to dreadful starts. Dreadful starts. And I told the group in a group text yesterday, this was even before Salvi's second at bat, it's going to take Salvador Perez going to Matt Quatrero and saying, you have to move me in order for Q to actually move him in the order. Q's going to lean on, it's only 16 games. Salvador Perez is going to figure it out. Dude drove in 100 runs for us last year. All those things are true. But what also can be true and might possibly be true this year is here's where he takes a step back. If it is, then you can't afford to wait to the All-Star break to figure this out and move him down. That's easier said than done because also if you move him out of the cleanup spot, who do you put there? That's not an open and shut case. And if you move Vinny Pasquantino out of the 3 spot, who do you put there? That's not an open and shut case. And I would imagine it would have quite a bit to do with whether you're facing a righty or lefty. Now, because they're facing Framber Valdez tomorrow, he's a lefty. Jack, would you like to workshop a starting 9 against Framber Valdez and see if we can come up with some sort of consensus and how much different it would be from what we think Matt Quatrero will do tomorrow?
Well, I mean, for starters, Framber Valdez's splits are relatively even, so I'm not sure they need to throw out the platoon lineup.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt to try out anything. I mean, this offense has been an eyesore to watch. They've been an ear bleed to listen to if you were trying to listen to on the radio. You can't be a competitive team, and Vinny Pasquantino said it on Thursday night. You can't be competitive when your 3-hole hitter is hitting 150. Worse than that, your cleanup hitter is hitting about around there too. And there's a couple different ways you can look at it. I mean, it almost feels like we're spinning in circles when we've talked about the Royals offense the last 3 years. It's like we've had this same song and dance for well over 365 days a year. Oh, the pitching staff's pretty good. The only difference I would say is the bullpen's pretty putrid to start the year, where usually they're either average or they're a little bit above average. This year they've been below average. A lot of guys that just don't belong in a big league bullpen anymore. As for the offense, it's like you keep going back to that and saying, They're not good enough. They're not good enough. Oh, you got a couple guys here that hit. Well, the other guys, no, they don't hit either. Oh, the bottom of the order, oh, the middle of the order, the top of the order. It's always something with this offense. And I would go as far to say, and I don't know if I've ever said this about a 4-game series. That might be the most embarrassing series you'll see the Royals play all season long. And I'm going to go as far as saying that might be more embarrassing in that 4-game series than getting swept by another team. Like I thought the way the offense looked against a team who will be lucky to win 55 games is about as inept as you could possibly look. The White Sox were begging you in all 4 games of this series to blow them away. I mean, that's just not a good baseball team. They have a guy who used to play for the Savannah Bananas in right field. That's how the White Sox are treating their 2026 season. There's some young, talented players on that roster. Not enough to be a 60-some win ball club. I was way off. I thought the White Sox would be a little bit more competitive this year. You could make a case that this team, talent-wise, is worse than where they were last year. But they went in there, they pitched incredibly well, and you helped them out a lot. I mean, Anthony Kay shoved for 5 2/3. Eric Fetty, who is just hanging on by a fingernail for his big league career, gives up a leadoff home run on Saturday and shoves for the next 5 innings. And when you're the Royals talking about wanting to win this division and being a team that's a threat in October, you got to punish pitchers like that. I don't care if it's in April. I don't care if it's in July. I don't care if it's in September. Those guys don't deserve to get out of the 3rd inning if you are saying what your expectations are is who you should be, right? If you are saying, oh, we're a division winner, division winners don't meddle around with Eric Fetty, okay? Division winners don't lose series finales to a team that had to use, might I tell you, 9 pitchers to win. That's just inexcusable on every single level.
Sir Anthony, what's his name, was their last guy that they ran out there. He was the last guy.
If the Royals would have scored 1 run, they would have been bleep out of luck in extra innings because they would have said, okay, well, at this point, let's just hope we score 8 runs in the top of the 10th, and we'll just try to overuse Sir Anthony Dominguez and find a way to split this series.
Yeah.
But for a team that didn't win in Kansas City for 2 years, you let that group roll in and take 2 out of 4 when you score 9 runs in 4 games. I'm all for being an optimist, and I think if you've listened to the show long enough, I try to refrain from any crash outs or meltdowns in April because, I mean, at the end of the day, it is 16 games into the year. You got to hit your way out of it. That's the reality of the situation. I'm not for benching Vinny. I'm not for benching Salvi because who the hell are you going to put in there that's more of a threat than those 2 guys? I get it. They're hitting 150. We also can be adults here and say that if the Royals make the postseason, they're pretty much playing those guys every single day. Maybe not so much Salvador Perez, but absolutely Vinny Pasquantino. Maybe Salvi moves down in the order. That's where I'm at. Like, I'd put him in the 7 hole. But also, like, can you put Carter in the 4 hole already? Maybe you do just because it's been so terrible for Salvador Perez to start the season. But if I was on the Royals in this off day, I'm kind of having that gut check moment of, like, you don't need no team meeting or anything like that. Like I said, you're 16 games into the season. But you let the Savannah Bananas walk in, basically, and take 2 out of 4. When you had 2 shutouts in that series, you held them to 2 runs on Thursday night, and you split. Like, you don't play the White Sox 19 times a year anymore. You get them twice at home. And when a 4-game series, usually that's been a sweep for the Royals. They had swept the White Sox every single time at Kauffman Stadium the last 2 years. To lose even 2 games to a team that was running out that lineup, I meant to send you this yesterday, Shane. The White Sox leading average in yesterday's starting 9, leading average was 214. 214, and they had a bullpen game. And you lost. Like I said, I don't care that game is played in April. I wouldn't care if that was played at any other point in the season. That is so unbelievably inexcusable that I can't even find the words to say it. I mean, that is
when you put it that way. Normally, I would talk you off the ledge the other 99 times when you say something like that. But having framed it like that, you're right.
I mean, it's baseball, Shane.
Right.
We know that we've seen some awful Royals teams go and sweep a really good team before. Like, it just will never make sense in that way. But as I'm sitting there watching all 4 games of this
they're
series,
hitting 193 as a team.
193 is a team, and they put up 6. And there's a little bit of blame to go around. I thought Noah Cameron's somebody who's usually very fine and makes few mistakes. Man, you made some bad mistakes yesterday. I mean,
made some non-competitive pitches too. He wasn't good.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, he was not good. And I get the bar has been very high for the Royals starting rotation. And hey, bad starts are going to happen. They're all human. You're going to leave a hanger to somebody who might hit one out, and that might be their only home run of their life. And I would go as far to say the kid who hit it in the first inning, a 95-mile-an-hour home run, you might not see a sub-96-mile-an-hour exit velocity home run the rest of the season. And he got it. Like, that's baseball. The fences are moved in. That wouldn't have been a home run, I believe, at the old Kauffman Stadium, if you will. But too many mistakes. The offense, they were just begging you to score 7 runs when Jonathan Cannon came in there and had the Rick Vaughn debut of and then faking a hip injury to get out of the game. I thought that was the funniest thing. Him throwing a pitch and kind of wincing. I'm like, no, you just can't throw a strike right now. Yeah. That's why you're leaving the game. Yeah. But they were begging you. They were begging you to say, please, chop off the head, bludgeon us, just take us out of here so that we can leave and go on to our next. And you got 3 runs in that inning, and they were walking in runs.
Yes.
That's got to change. That's got to change at some point. You've got 2 really tough opponents coming up, and the Tigers on the road and the Yankees on the road. The Yankees beat the hell out of you last year. I don't believe you won 1 game. I believe you got swept in Kansas City and swept at Yankee Stadium last year.
Swept in New York. I know that for sure.
Yeah. And the Tigers, they beat up on you a little bit too. It's not that you need to panic. Nobody should be panicking. And I'm kind of in the minority. I just keep running out your best players. Like, if you go out there and you start Starling Marte or Lane Thomas or whoever tomorrow and the Royals score 8 runs, good.
Right.
I would say it's a good thing, but you also need Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez to hit. You're not going to change the lineup less than 20 games into the season. But I have always had this concern of the Royals each and every offseason have just penciled in Salvador Perez to be their cleanup hitter. And we just know at some point he's not going to hit like a cleanup hitter. In 16 games, he hasn't. He's been not borderline. He has been unplayable. So is Vinny Pasquantino. Once those things correct themselves a little bit, then you'll be able to breathe a little bit easier. The unfortunate thing is we can just keep saying this until it actually happens. And it's not one game. It's like a week straight of making sure you have good approaches and you're hitting. It's going to be really tough to do it this week. But as we saw a terrible, terrible White Sox team come in and take 2 of 4 and split with you, who's to say this team can't go take 4 out of 6 against the Tigers and the Yankees? Because I kind of think you got to do that just to change the narrative of how it's been so far in April.
And if their starting pitching continues what it does, then you bring that back into play. But you got to be able to cash in those guys when you get them on base. And I know hitting is contagious, both good and bad. But right now it's bad because whenever somebody gets on base, it seems like everybody that's up there, that walks up there in succession, is squeezing the sawdust out of the bat, and nobody can get a hit. Won't get easier against Framber Valdez, but Kansas City will run out Cole Reagans. And that's what you're paying your ace to go do. And that is snap a losing streak and start a winning streak. All right. Texter says, you guys may have already mentioned this, but Bobby only having 1 run scored after reaching base nearly 30 times shows how bad Vinny and Salvi have been this year. Yes. And credit to our former colleague, Chance Lebo, for tweeting that out. Yes, he has scored exactly 1 run this year. Bobby Witt Jr. has, after being on base pretty much more consistently than anybody else in the Royals lineup. But that's where we are right now. Garcia's doing a decent job in the Leo spot. Witt is hitting the ball hard and getting on a decent amount of times. But then Vinny, Salvi, and everybody else after that, Cags has kind of come and gone a little bit. Izzy's fallen out of his tree a little bit. It's got to change. Got to change if you want to contend for the Central. They're right there, even at 7-9. But their next 2 games are against Framber Valdez and Jack Flaherty, and then the big bad Yankees after that. All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at the Twitter question. It has to do with you grill masters out there. What are you best at? We'll talk about that next, 12:51.
You're listening to the Shane Dennis Show on ESPN Wichita.
Hi, this is Ben Farha, owner of Farha Roofing. Since 2009, our team has been dedicated to providing top-quality roofing solutions across Kansas and beyond. Whether you're dealing with an insurance claim, planning a new project, or budgeting for your business, we're here to help. Call us today at 316-831-7510 for a free estimate and experience the Farha difference. We're committed to your satisfaction and ensuring your home is protected. Farha Roofing, we rise above the rest.
Get ready for takeoff. Your taste buds are in for a ride at Tanker Barbecue. From fall-off-the-bone ribs to juicy brisket and house-made sides, they're serving food with big flavor and slow-smoked to perfection. And they have mouth-watering specials like Chicago-style hot beef sandwiches on Wednesday, brisket pizza Thursday, thick center cut pork chops and meatloaf on Friday, and half-pound smoked cheeseburgers on Saturday. Find them at 620 West Maple, open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 until 7.
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
So Vegas, so close. Gilley's Gambling Hall is a better place to win. Over 1,000 gaming machines. More action, more excitement, more chances to win. Because at Gilley's, players win big. Step into Trackside, Wichita's one-of-a-kind horse race betting experience, unlike anything in the region. So why go to Vegas when the wins are waiting right here? Gilley's Gambling Hall in Park City, Kansas. A better place to win. Find out more by visiting playgillies.com.
Mom deserves more than flowers and a card. Enter to win the JTV Mother's Day Getaway at jtv.com/sweepstakes. You could win a 6-night cruise to Grand Cayman, Mexico, and the Bahamas, plus $1,000 spending money and a $1,000 gift card to shop JTV. It's a mom's dream come true. Enter the JTV Mother's Day Getaway now at jtv.com/sweepstakes. And new customers receive a one-time $25 off of a purchase of $50 or more.
The Windsurge return home for a series against the Springfield Cardinals. It starts with a Dillon's 2 for Tuesday with the Tumbavakas. Wednesday, 11:05 day game. Then a Turbo Tubs Thirsty Thursday at 6:35. Friday, post-game fireworks, Joey Chestnut and Chili Buns. Saturday, a boxer giveaway, Chili Buns, and we wrap it up on Sunday with the Kids Day. For tickets, go to windsurge.com and listen to the games on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Peebo Bryson. Born Day. The soothing tones of Peebo Bryson. Hey, download our ESPN Wichita app for your chance to win Savannah Banana tickets. It's all the rage. The Bananas, they're coming to Wichita next month. So your opportunity to win it via ESPN Wichita is through our app. So if you haven't downloaded our app yet, do so. We've been telling you, we've got some app-specific things that you can win. Well, that's one of them. And those tickets are coveted like bricks of gold. So download our ESPN Wichita app and be listening for further instructions as we get closer to the month of May. Time for the Twitter question, brought to you each and every Monday by Rivet Computers. If you got a broken phone, cracked screen, battery not charging, whatever your problem is, Rivet Computers has you covered. They've been Wichita's go-to for fast, affordable phone repairs for over 20 years. Most fixes are done same day. Walk-ins always welcome. Don't wait days or spend a fortune. Hop into Rivet Computers. Get your phone back up and running today. Well, the weather today may have you, if you're here, I'll preface this, because you could be listening to me from anywhere in the world. But if you're in South Central Kansas, or state of Kansas, I'll go that far, then you might have a little grilling fever. It's warm. It's a little windy here in Wichita, but we're used to that. But it's grilling season. We're pretty much there. And so my question to you is via at ESPN Wichita on X or Twitter is, if you like grilling and you fancy yourself good at it, what's your go-to? So if somebody asks you, or maybe more importantly, if you host a barbecue, what is right up your alley? What's your go-to? What are you best at preparing on the grill? Jack, before I ask you this, what is your grill? Is it charcoal powered or is it electric?
I have a Blackstone. So,
ooh, there's that too. Maybe I should have. That's a good question too.
Yep. So you got to get the propane, but it also cooks just about anything you want on there.
Blackstones are an amazing invention, or anything, any knockoff that is even close to that. Yeah, that's a good point. I know a lot of you out there have Blackstones. A lot of my family members have them too. I do not. But anyway, you grill masters, what's your go-to? Chicken, steaks / chops, salmon / seafood, or burgers and dogs? What are you best at? Chicken, steaks or chops, seafood, or burgers and dogs? There you go. There's your Twitter question at ESPN Wichita. Go there, vote, repost, and share with your fellow grill masters on the Rivet Computers Twitter question. Steak all the way, says Texter. Yes, very good. Proud of you, Texter. At ESPN Wichita, or 316-666-2285. That is our new and improved text number. So use text line as you see fit. Again, a reminder, download our app. Also go to Twitter or X, vote on our question. And also, when you have the opportunity, live stream the show. Whenever we're at our Equity Bank Park studio, like we are right now, you can watch me, you can watch Pat do his show from 2 to 4 with the added bonus of the show schedule down on the crawl on our X, our Facebook, or go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, there's hour number 1 down, one more to go. It will be time when we return for our Prochaska Howland Prochaska Law Player of the Week. I have multiple ones, and I think they all deserve mention. One of them is a wind surge outfielder that we talked about and perhaps talked out of a slump and talked a home run into existence. We'll talk about Garrett Spain. We'll talk about a guy named Nathan Martin, who you might not know. We'll bring back Johnny Nuanez from hour number 1, and we'll talk Shocker Bowling. That's right. All of that coming up straight ahead. Our Players of the Week coming up here on a Monday.
Wichita's sports leader. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. KKGQ Newton.
The 2026 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
Let's get started.
Live from the North Shore of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Have a unique blend of athleticism.
All the teams are sitting there just absolutely licking their chops.
The 2026 NFL Draft.
The Las Vegas Raiders select
Thursday, April 23rd through Saturday, April 25th on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors.
Your home for every moment of the NFL Draft. Coming to ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
If you're balancing work, raising kids, and helping your parents, Kansas PACE is here to support you. They coordinate doctor visits, prescriptions, therapies, home assistance, transportation, and a day center filled with engaging activities. Your parents get compassionate, expert care, and you get relief from the constant worry and stress. Kansas PACE helps older adults stay safe and independent while you take care of your own life, guilt-free. Discover how Kansas PACE can help your family today at kansaspace.org.
Wichita, If you're trying to feel better, have more energy, and take better care of yourself, I want to tell you about Empowering Wellness. They focus on whole body wellness and helping people build healthier routines that actually fit real life. Whether you're busy, active, or just want to feel your best day to day, Empowering Wellness is there to support you on your health journey. Visit empoweringwellnessict.com to learn more or book your first visit, and tell them you heard about them on ESPN Wichita 92.3.
Today on Hey Culligan Smart Home, Smarter Water Softener. Here's Kevin.
Hey Culligan, can a smart water softener lift those heavy salt bags for me?
Kevin, it can.
Wait, it can?
Yep, the smart high-efficiency water softener from Culligan can alert your dealer when the salt needs to be replaced, and they'll do it for you, so your water stays soft and you stay away from lifting the bags.
I mean, I could lift them if I wanted.
No judgment here, Kevin. We're happy to do it, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. The ESPN Wichita app is available now for both Android and Apple. Go to your app store and download today. All you have to do is search ESPN Wichita and take the station with you wherever you go. While you're there, find podcasts of your favorite shows. Sign up for our app-only contests. Send a text into the show and much more. The ESPN Wichita app, your source for sports in Wichita. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
One, two, three, four, five. Everybody in the car, so come on, let's ride to the liquor store around the corner. The boys say they want some gin and juice, but I really don't wanna.
Yeah, that's Lou Bega. And it's his born day, too. Happy birthday, Lou. It's 1:04. Time for our player of the week. And I got to say, for the first time, maybe ever in the history of our PHP Law Player of the Week segment, I have copped out. What's the word? Taking the low road. Like I can't make a decision. There are multiple players of the week that I would like to give a fictitious crown to. But I think you could make an argument for all. Now, that's kind of the point of the player of the week thing. You got to narrow it down because of all the thousands of athletes over the weekend or from Tuesday until now could certainly throw their name into the ring. But I am going to have multiple ones, so bear with me as I walk you through it. First of all, my top player of the week, like him or not, Rory McIlroy. He won the Masters, got his second Masters win, and etched out a bit of history in doing so. Had a hot start, faltered a little yesterday, and ended up beating the world number one, holding off the world number one, Scottie Scheffler, for a one-stroke victory at the Masters. He is the fourth back-to-back winner in Masters history, joining Jack Nicklaus, who did it in 65 and 66, Sir Nick Faldo, 89-90, Tiger, 01-02, and now McIlroy. Entered the weekend with a 6-stroke lead, the largest ever through 36 holes at the Masters, but pretty much every other golfer near the top of the leaderboard went low on moving day. He was one over. Rory was. Entered Sunday tied for the lead with Cameron Young, with 6 other golfers within 4 strokes of the lead. Even with about 3 holes to play, there were 6 golfers within a couple of strokes of the lead, but they were running out of holes, and McIlroy still had them, except for Cameron Young, on holes left to play. Young on the back 9 didn't have any par breakers. Lots of par putts, and that was it. Justin Rose came and went, briefly took the lead, but Rory continued to struggle off the tee. He only hit 31 fairways. That's the fewest ever by a Masters champion. And Scotty Scheffler shot a 4 under 68 to take the clubhouse lead at 11 under. He played the final 36 holes at the Masters bogey-free. But McIlroy got to the 18th tee with a 2-stroke lead, survived another bad tee shot, bogeyed 18, but won it. So it was a 1-2 Rory-Scotty finish in a major, the first time since 2002, the U.S. Open, that the world's top 2 players finished 1 and 2. That was Tiger and Phil back in 2002. So Rory wins it at -12, back-to-back Masters champion, Rory McIlroy. One other player of the week that I need to crown, and that's Johnny Nuanez from Wichita State. Shocker baseball fans, you're probably a little nervous. On Sunday, their best reliever, Brady Pasha, was burned for the weekend. He threw the first 2 games of the series, a total of 4 innings. Austin Reed was likely out. So it was Nuanez and a collection of guys that hadn't pitched on the weekend, including Haitaro Hayashi, Brady Owens. You had Carson Richard in that mix too. But Nuanez says, I got this. He pitched into the 7th inning with a thin bullpen, giving up only a 2-run home run to Austin Pierzynski. Hayashi got the final out of the 7th. Brady Owens went 2 scoreless to end it. And Nuanez got some offensive help from Nolan Ganter, Josh Wolfert, and Jason Jones as Wichita State won 10-2. They take the series 2-1, but Johnny Nuanez, one of my PHP Law players of the week as well. Speaking of Wichita State, even though they came up just a little short, Wichita State's run to the NCAA tournament in women's bowling came to an end in the national championship match as the Shockers fell to number 1 seed Jacksonville State 4-1 in the best of 7 Baker match in Parma Heights, Ohio. Shockers finished their 2nd NCAA season with a 79-36 record. NCAA runner-up, Jacksonville State. They won their 2nd NCAA championship in the last 3 seasons. Jacksonville State, by comparison, finished 103-10, believe it or not. But Wichita State goes to the Final Four yet again, and their foray into Division I hasn't been much different than Wichita State's entity as a club sport. Shocker bowling continues to roll along, and they fell a little bit short in their quest of another national championship, but congratulations to Wichita State bowling. Also, one of our PHP Law players of the week, a guy that we were talking about late last week, and that's Garrett Spain. And we talked about him kind of in a roundabout way because of one of our guests, Jamie Bluma, bounced into his folks in, 2 states away of all places. Anyway, Garrett Spain later on that same night got in the lineup, got his first hit as a wind surge player, and it was a home run. It was in a losing effort, 4-2. But no sooner we talked about Garrett Spain, then he got his first hit of the season. Well, then on Saturday, the wind surge had 15 hits, and Garrett Spain had 5 RBI, including 3 of those hits, and a 3-run home run in the 8th inning to break open the game and help Wichita win 12-5. a series in which the Wind Surge would eventually split 3 games apiece. But Garrett Spain had a 5 RBI performance, 3 hits, a season best, including a 3-run home run, his second in the 2 games after we just got done talking about him, and hoping he would get his first hit of the season. And he not only did that, hit his first 2 home runs of the season. And speaking of the Wind Surge, they closed out that road trip with an 11-inning win over Arkansas, getting to 4-5 on the season Sunday afternoon. They were held hitless deep into that game. They were hitless through 7, but it eventually won the game 5-3 in 11 innings over Arkansas. And an honorable mention, even though it's not a player in particular, Wind Surge pitchers struck out 81 Travs batters in 6 games. Now, maybe that says more about the Travelers hitters, but I tend to doubt it because they have a lot of prospects on that team down there in Little Rock. But Wind Surge pitchers in 6 games rang up 81 strikeouts. Something to monitor moving forward. Speaking of, tomorrow night, first game of the series with Springfield. It's 2 for Tuesday, and they'll play as the Tumbavacas. Coverage starting right here on the channel at 6 o'clock. First game of that Springfield series tomorrow right here at the stadium. Another PHP Law Player of the Week. A little bit under the radar, but maybe this guy is most deserving of all. Nathan Martin won the Los Angeles Marathon on Sunday. He won it, and this is a week ago. Well, actually more than a week ago. But Nathan Martin won the Los Angeles Marathon in a photo finish, became the 2nd straight American men's winner in the closest finish ever in the LA Marathon. He's from Michigan. He won it in 2 hours and 11 minutes and 18 seconds. Beat a guy from Kenya who was second. He fell at the finish. This Michael Kamau was taken away on a stretcher, which is kind of scary. But Nathan Martin is a substitute teacher and a high school track and cross country coach at Jackson High School in Michigan. His personal best is 2:10.45. So he didn't quite get that. But last year, Matt Richtman became the first American to win the race since 1994. And Nathan Martin wins it this year as, again, a track and field coach, actually a track and cross country coach and a substitute teacher. He's 36 years old, and he won the Los Angeles Marathon in basically a photo finish. So there you go. There's your players of the week. Jack, do you have any suggestions to add on to a player of the week? Anybody worth noting in your neck of the woods?
Well, I'll just give it to a team of the week here, and I have to play a little bit biased here, and also with the next guest coming up, it makes sense. How about the Kansas baseball team sweeping UCF, who was number 12 going into this matchup? They were number 1 in the Big 12. KU was right behind them in second place, and I think every Kansas fan would have been fine with just winning that series, but to sweep them and sweep a doubleheader on Saturday, very, very impressive what Dan Fitzgerald and this group have been able to do. And it was always going to be hard topping what they did a year ago, where came up out of nowhere, won 40-plus games. They get to a regional in Fayetteville. Now they've got a really good opportunity because a couple of teams have taken some big steps back in conference play. They got a chance to win the Big 12
they do.
Before then going to Arlington and, of course, playing in the Big 12 tournament.
Actually, it's in Surprise.
Surprise this year. Okay,
Yes.
I thought it was going to be in Arlington.
I had to look it up myself, yeah.
Okay, so this Kansas team, I mean, now probably have their sights set on hosting a regional, which has never happened in Lawrence before. I mean, what Dan Fitzgerald's, I'm sure you'll be talking about here in the next segment, what they've been able to do in 2 years is probably more than Kansas baseball was able to accomplish in a couple of decades prior to him getting there. I mean, it's a a bunch of JUCO kids,
Yep.
and they all seem to mesh together like they've been playing together for multiple years. And if you're a Kansas fan and you haven't been paying attention to what this team has been doing over the last 20 games or so, it's truly remarkable. Because I know at the beginning of the year, there was some of that steam that had been let out, like, oh, they were great last year. Now they're losing series to some small mid-major programs, which happens from time to time in college baseball. But just, I mean, they were so hot to begin the season last year, where to be 10-8, 18 games through, you're thinking, well, back to normal. We probably won't hear much about this team throughout the season. But to be looking up on April 13th, they're in first place by a couple of games in the Big 12. They've won 10 in a row. They gave Nebraska their first home loss of the season. I mean, they're firing on all cylinders, and their pitching staff was very impressive. So if I was to be more specific, I got to give the nod to the KU pitching staff over the weekend. They were really, really good against a damn good UCF team, and now they got their sights set on Wichita State coming to town tomorrow, I believe you said.
Yes, that's right.
That should be a lot of fun to watch as well on ESPN Plus, because that's where I was watching them all weekend long. And you know me, I'm a big Royals guy. I was probably more in tune to what was going on in Lawrence, considering how boring that 4-game series was against Chicago.
I'll give you 3 since you brought it up. Dominic Vageley, he went 7 innings, struck out 10 in one of the games of the doubleheader on Saturday. Mason Cook went 6 and gave up 1 in the second game of that doubleheader. So the pitching staff for KU that came into that series with a 5.97 team ERA, and I know that's kind of the way of the new world now. You're hitting more than you're pitching a little bit. But Dominic Vageley, Mason Cook, and Bodie Ray was the guy that pitched at least twice in that series. I'm pretty sure he closed out that Mason Cook game. So there's your 3 guys that all give you a little bit of a boost there. Those individual dudes for Kansas, sparking them to a 3-game sweep against UCF. Speaking of KU baseball, they're in the midst of a 10-game winning streak. It's the longest in-game winning streak in over 10 years. And if they win 4 more, now that's a little bit of a stretch. That they would have to beat Wichita State and then sweep Oklahoma State down in Stillwater. But if they should happen to do that, that'd be their longest win streak in 32 years. The last time they won 14 in a row in mid-season, in the same season, was when I was a senior in college. And of course, when I was a junior in college, some of you may remember, Wichita State went to the World Series. Kansas went to the World Series. They were on opposite sides of the bracket, didn't square off. But KU, Wichita State, back in the early 90s, had similar runs in 93 and 94. And it's been that long since KU team has had that long of a winning streak inside the season. They're at 10 right now after the sweep of UCF. Before we talk to Dan Fitzgerald, one thing I want to remind you of that's coming up this weekend at Kansas Speedway. It's NASCAR coming to the Kansas Speedway April 18th and 19th. And we have 4 tickets to give away. And you got to enter through our Facebook page. All right. At ESPN Wichita 92.3 or ESPN Wichita 92.3. Just search that, find it. If you don't already follow us and you want to go to the Kansas Speedway races on us, here's how you do it. Go to our Facebook page, scroll down to our NASCAR post. It's headlined by all caps giveaway alert. So you got to scroll down a little bit, but you'll find it. And it's got a reel that we put up there for the Kansas Speedway. So in order to enter and have a chance to win 4 tickets to go to that race on us, like the post and tag a friend you'd bring with you. You have to do both to be qualified to win this prize package. It's 4-pack of tickets to the big race at Kansas Speedway, April 18th and 19th. Go to the post, like it, and tag a friend that you would bring with you. And here in the next day or so, we'll draw out one lucky winner. If you do both of those things, you'll be entered to win 4 free tickets to the Kansas Speedway, April 18th and 19th. But you got to go to our Facebook page. You got to like the post and tag a friend. All right. When we return, KU baseball takes on Wichita State baseball. Both teams going in the right direction right this second, but none more than KU. They are red hot. They won 10 straight. They swept UCF over the weekend, and they are now in first place in the Big 12. And we talked to head coach Dan Fitzgerald of KU baseball. When we come back, it's 121.
You're listening to the Shane Dennis Show.
Got it from here
on ESPN Wichita.
If pain is keeping you off the field or out of your daily routine, it's time for expert help. At Midwest Pain Relief Center, you'll be treated at the only local nationally certified disc center, knee center, laser center, and neuropathy center serving Wichita and South Central Kansas. They specialize in treating bulging or herniated discs, neuropathy, tendonitis, rotator cuff injuries, knee pain, tennis elbow, and more, using advanced non-surgical treatments to reduce inflammation and speed recovery. Stop managing pain, start fixing it. Schedule your consultation today at MidwestPainReliefCenter.com.
Sports fans know the best games deserve the best food, and nothing beats Booth Creek Wagyu, raised right here in Kansas. Whether it's burgers on the grill, steak night at home, or tailgating before the big game, Booth Creek Wagyu brings you premium flavor, unmatched tenderness, and a true farm-to-table experience. Stop by their location at 21st and Webb and taste the difference for yourself. Booth Creek Wagyu, changing the way America eats beef. Visit boothcreekwagyu.com to order today.
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
Save big money on all of your outdoor projects at Menards. Create stunning patios and walkways with our huge in-stock selection of durable concrete blocks. Ready to take home today. Plus, get free estimates fast with our easy-to-use design program in-store or on Menards.com. Save big money on our 16-inch brick base, cobblestone or lakestone patio blocks on sale now. Plus, check out our flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
All right, fellas, listen up. You spend money on game tickets, wings, and beer like it's nothing. But when it comes to your girl, don't fumble. Big event coming up, date night, wedding, girls trip, whatever it is, you want her walking in like a 10. That's where Peyton at Sunscape Sunless Tanning comes in. We're talking flawless glow, confidence through the roof, and yeah, all eyes on your girl. And trust me, when she feels good, your night gets a whole lot better. So stop scrolling, hit book on Instagram at Sunscape_spray tans to lock it in today. Because champions don't wing it, they plan ahead.
Welcome back here on a Monday, talking college baseball now, a baseball intensive show here for you. And we shift a little bit north to the Kansas Jayhawks, and they will have another big week coming up at Hoagland Ballpark. They'll entertain WSU on Tuesday and then make a trip to Stillwater to take on Oklahoma State. And Dan Fitzgerald joins us right now, the skipper of the Jayhawks. Not a hotter team in the Big 12 for sure, and maybe not even in the country. The Jayhawks, after polishing off Central Florida in a 3-game sweep, now set 26-10. Most importantly, though, Coach, you're 12-3 in the Big 12 and the top of the heap. You trade places with the Knights, and you're in first place in the Big 12. First of all, congratulations on that. It's always hard to sweep somebody, and certainly hard to sweep a doubleheader, but you did both against a really good Central Florida team.
Yeah, you know, they came in hot, and a really nice club, and really balanced, could hit, can play defense. They've got a back end guy, last name of Jones, a transfer from Western Kentucky, who is as good a closer as I've ever seen in a long career in college baseball. He was incredible. So really balanced team, and 3 really good games, and we were fortunate to be on the plus side. But yeah, we've been playing good baseball, and it's a really fun team to coach. And you celebrate the wins, and then you get ready for another full slate. Wichita State and then on to Oklahoma State. So it's always a packed schedule, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
You guys were, let's take you back to Lubbock. I know this might be a little painful, but you've turned the corner since then. You're 10-8 after a game in Lubbock, and then you won the final game against Texas Tech, and you've really kind of taken off since then. Was there a catalyst? Is there a reason why?
Yeah, it's funny. We played terrible on that Friday night, and we were just kind of broken. And Friday night, Coach Hancock and I, Tyler Hancock, our hitting coach, we kind of just sat down and said, we need to rebrand this thing. Like we're off offensively, and Coach Scott and I sat down and had the same conversation pitching wise, and we knew we were talented, but we just weren't playing good baseball, and so we kind of just reset it for the guys. And you always hope that when you reset things, you go out and you win the next game. Well, we go out the next night and got walked off. Great game though. We played awesome. We had 17 hits and battled through. Tech's super offensive, and it's a really tough place to play, as you know. And we were kind of at a crossroads of, okay, we've had the reset talk. You can't have a reset talk and then have one the next day. So, but we played well, and I've told the guys since day one, hey, we're going to be about the process. We're not going to be held captive to the score on the scoreboard. We played too many games, and it's too long of a season. Well, we came out on Sunday and we got after them and ended up 10 running them, and we've played really good baseball since. So, it's funny. I don't think our message changed. I think it was just more of a, hey guys, this is, we're almost 20 games into the season. We've stubbed our toe here the first game of conference, and we're better than this. And I think sometimes it takes guys some time to get used to playing at a different level and get used to playing together. And but I was really proud of them because we lost that Saturday game, but they walked away knowing, hey, that's the process and that's how we have to play. So we've kept it simple. We don't play anything tricky. We're pretty straight up, but it's been fun, a great group to coach, and guys that just play hard and love each other.
Won 10 in a row. It's your longest streak inside a season in 24 years. 4 more wins. I know that's looking forward down the road, but a 14-game streak, if you get to there, would be the longest since 1994. When you do that inside the season, it's one thing to do it in the pre-conference, but when you're in the Big 12 and you're in the midst of a run like this, and you've done it all kinds of ways. I see you had to pile up a bunch of runs to keep it going against Utah a couple of weeks ago. And then you really pitch your rear ends off against UCF and hold them to 7 runs in 3 games. So it's been a little bit of everything. How do you keep them fresh, and how do you explain a 10-game streak within the conference?
I didn't know it was a 10-game streak until a pregame interview the other day when someone said that's 9 in a row, and that's not coach speak. That's not like I don't check the stats because obviously I have to. It's my job. But I really have just kind of lived by, if I'm going to ask the guys to stay in the moment and live the process, then I need to do it too. So, I haven't done a whole lot of reflecting on how it's been 10 in a row. I've just been more reflective on how are we playing. And I think our recipe's pretty simple, that the guys work really hard. We care a ton about the preparation. I told the guys on Saturday, enjoy this, celebrate it, make great decisions off the field, recover tomorrow, because it's a rare Sunday, back-to-back Sundays, Easter, and then, I said, this is amazing. I want the Big 12 to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday series always. It'd be incredible. But I said, enjoy a real day off. And then Monday, it's 100% about us getting better. And then Tuesday, you wake up and it's 100% about playing great against a really good Wichita State team. So I think the recipe for us has been, if we pay attention to the preparation and continue to realize that we've got a lot of season left, so there's still time to get better. Shane, you were there, because I remember you commented on the air. We were at Indiana State for the Missouri Valley Conference tournament, and we were playing. It was our practice day. We had an hour, and I remember talking to you as Heath was, doing individual work with one of the hitters, and you had commented on, man, he's still coaching. He's, and I just remember it stuck in my head so much of, like, I worked for Dan Hefner, who every single day was an opportunity to get better. I mean, we did that for a championship game of a regional, where it was specific drills for specific guys for their development. And then, I go to LSU and Jay Johnson models the same thing. So I don't think I know anything different other than each day is just a great opportunity to get better. And if you stack those together, you give yourself a chance. So it's a good recipe for us. Our guys are pretty simple. They love playing ball. We've got a lot of JUCO guys that have played a lot, and it's a fun group.
Talking to Dan Fitzgerald, head coach of Kansas Jayhawks. They're 26-10. They've won 10 straight. They're 12-3 in the Big 12 after a sweep of UCF. It's funny you bring that up because I was going to ask you, how do you keep your guys fresh in April? Some circumstance, really, built-in off days that you didn't account for. Sometimes those are like pennies from heaven, right?
Oh, it's the best. And Mondays are always tough in college baseball because they're the off day, but the guys have to go to class and they've got all kinds of responsibilities that they have to take care of, and they might be off the baseball field, but I hope the guys slept in and went to church and took a nap in the afternoon and watched the Masters, and I think a lot of them took advantage of it, and we'll find out here in a couple hours when we get out on the field, how focused we can be on today's practice.
Talking to Dan Fitzgerald, the RPI currently for KU in really good shape at 21. Of course, a sweep of UCF will do that. Talk about you talk about your time at DBU, and then of course at LSU you're in the SEC, so that isn't a real big thing, and it's not as big in the Big 12. But scheduling, how important is that for you to balance a competitive non-conference, knowing that it's going to be a gauntlet in the Big 12, and it has been again this year?
Yeah, I think scheduling is super important, and we're always really intentional about it. But our midweeks are simple because we've got a great rivalry with Missouri, a great rivalry with Wichita State, a great emerging rivalry with Nebraska. And to me, those were really important ones because you've got in-state with Wichita State, a really good program, really well coached, really tough, and it's like playing another team in the Big 12. You go to Missouri, you get some RPI kickback from the SEC there, which is important. And it's a storied rivalry. It's awesome for our guys, and again keeps us on pace for Big 12 play. Nebraska, same thing. We went up there last week. Great environment, super intense game, keeps us on track. So I think that the midweeks are really built in for us. The thing we did this year was went on the road early to UT Rio Grande Valley, who, maybe last four out of the NCAA tournament last year. Incredible environment, sold out crowds. That's one of the top places you can go and play. And they were really good. So I think we tasted it early on the intense piece. McNeese was really good. Lamar in a midweek. And then we went up and played Minnesota, who, is a really salty club. And then St. Thomas at home, who's won the Summit back-to-back years. So you try to play teams that are going to win a ton of games. But we're in a league that if you take care of business in the league, you should be fine in terms of the NCAA tournament. But the trick then is, how do you prepare your team for playing in that league? And you got to go out and play teams that are going to really compete and are going to be well coached and they're going to play really fundamental baseball, because that's what you're going to see every weekend in our league.
Kansas plays Wichita State on Tuesday and then down to Stillwater to take on Oklahoma State as they'll try to keep the 10-game winning streak going. The Jayhawks are 26-10 on the baseball season, and Dan Fitzgerald, my guest right now. You're coming off a tremendous year a year ago, 43-17. And I just want you to speak a little bit to the transfer era and the fact that only 10 stayed. Like, this is in 2025 and now 2026. This is the landscape we're talking about here. Good, bad, or anywhere in between, guys are going to be moving around. How does that strike you that you go 43-17 and have to rebuild the roster, not completely from scratch, but practically?
Yeah, a big chunk of that was we had a lot of seniors. We had a lot of one-year guys the year before. Tommy Barth was a one-year guy, one-year transfer. Brady Council, Ian Francis. So we had a bunch of guys that just came in for 1 year. I've got I have opinions, of course, on the state of college athletics, but when it comes to recruiting, I've always kind of had the mindset of your opinion doesn't really matter. It's more of what is the state of the game, like what is actually happening. So I try to, and our staff does a fantastic job of, hey, this is the nature of the beast right now. How are we going to respond? It's harder because you have guys that historically could spend time in your program and continue to develop, and you look up and at the end of their sophomore year, they're a really good player. I think of, our good friend Travis Wyckoff, has an unbelievable freshman year, starts national championship game at Wichita State as a freshman, and a guy trips on a ball his senior year and Travis hits 400 as a left fielder. Well, that doesn't happen in today's era if guys transfer, because you don't show up and all of a sudden, like, why did Gene throw him in there? Well, he knew he was a good hitter in high school and he was trustworthy and a great baseball player, and so you give a guy like that a shot. Those stories are long gone now, because when you have so much transferring, it just becomes more of a plug and play in these positions. Now, we're kind of used to that because we're all JUCO guys, and it reminds me of my DMAC days where you just literally think about, well, we need a whole new team the next year. We're hoping to avoid some of that, being that we've got some younger guys who are contributing right now, and think that they're going to be guys that are going to help us for 2 years. And we got a bunch of sophomores that we think can be big time guys for us next year. But it does create a different mindset of recruiting of if a guy's not going to play as a freshman, the conversations early on in the process with them in recruiting are, hey, listen, I know you want to be here. I know you've always wanted to be a Jayhawk. The road is hard, and college baseball is old, and you're 18 years old, and you're going to have patience. And there are still a lot of kids that want to take that on. But we're also in a time where they can know they're going to play somewhere else. So it is challenging. We just try to be really upfront with it. But you look at every weekend that we prepare to play, you're watching video on your opponents, and half the video you're watching, they're wearing a different uniform. And so it's tricky. And at the same time, I think it's created incredible opportunities for student athletes. And I think for a long time, college baseball and college athletics were skewed in the wrong way, where, a school is selling jerseys and a kid is paying a bunch of money to go to school when, his jersey's being sold. So there's some name, image, and likeness stuff that certainly needed to come into play. But I think we're in the middle of another course correction, and where it ends up, I don't know. But I do know that it's a tremendous time to be a student athlete, all kinds of opportunities. But the challenge for us is fit is so important. And I think communication is so important, and casting a vision of, hey, here's who you can be. Here's who we think you are. And at the same time, it's just tricky. And when we talk a year from now, Shane, we'll have a different take on it. So I think you got to be able to spin the Rubik's Cube and figure out which side you're on. I know that. Yeah. Final question before we let you go, Dan Fitzgerald. The Jayhawks have won 10 in a row. You bring up development, patience, and keywords like that. Unfortunately for you coaches, those things are in short supply right about now. So how tough is it from the time they walk on campus in late August, early September until the last, Valentine's Day weekend? You got to get them ready to go, and you got to get them ready to win right then. How tough is it? Yeah, it's really hard. I think that's also the great challenge in the thing that gets you to hop out of bed every morning knowing that you got your hands full and that everyone you play is going to be ready to go. I look around at all the coaches that we coach against, and I think of our game tomorrow night, like Brian Green. I've known him forever, coached against him forever. He's had a tremendous success. He has an incredible resume. He's an incredible infield guy. He's doing an amazing job at Wichita State. Marty Lease, one of the greatest recruiters in college baseball history. Fast forward to the weekend, Josh Holliday, Hall of Fame coach. You just go, You go down the list. Rich Wallace last weekend at UCF. So good. His recruiting coordinator, Norberto Lopez, a guy that I've recruited against 12 billion times, and he was at Miami and I was at LSU. And so you just look around college baseball, everyone's staff is really good. Everyone's good at recruiting. Everyone's good at playing baseball. And I think the challenge is, okay, it's August 24th. They're all on campus. We have to grind this thing out so that we're ready to go on, I think it was February 13th this past year.
Yep.
And it just looms in your head and you've got all the boxes that you have to check. And I think it's the thing that gets you out of bed every morning and you feel like you're on a 24-mile sprint.
Coach, always good talking ball with you. Wichita State on Tuesday, Oklahoma State this weekend. Continued success and continued good health to the Jayhawks. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Shane.
When we come back, I'm old, Jack's young. That is next.
You're listening to the Shane Dennis Show on ESPN Wichita.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Toppers Plus Truck and RV will hook you up for trailer and RV season. Get receiver hitches, goosenecks, fifth wheel hitches, brake controllers, and trailer wiring to ease the towing of your boat, cycle, RV, or lawn equipment. Choose from top brands of hitches, including B&W hitches, Curt, and Draw Type. Need to take your vehicle camping with you? Toppers Plus has Blue Ox base plates and tow bars. Get trailer season ready at Toppers Plus Truck and RV, 333 Northwest Street, or toppersplusks.com.
Make your truck work for you!
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
In Kansas, truth is told in speed, wide open, full bore, and no mercy. Season momentum earned 3 and 4 wide. Loud, intense, inches predicting outcomes. Blink and miss.
They bang sideways!
What just happened? Pure speed whipping across the plains.
Hell yeah, boys!
NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, April 18th and 19th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Spring's here in Kansas, and that means warmer weather, but also spring storms. If your roof took a beating this winter, now's the time to get it checked out. Call the experts at AR Roofing in Wichita. Their team will inspect your roof, identify any damage, and help you stay ahead of costly repairs before the spring rains roll in. Whether it's missing shingles, leaks, or storm damage, call AR Roofing today or visit arroofing.com and schedule your spring roof inspection. AR Roofing, Wichita's #1 referred roofing company.
The Windsurge return home for a series against the Springfield Cardinals. It starts with the Dillons 2 for Tuesday with the Tumba Vacas. Wednesday, 11:05 day game. Then a Turbo Tubs Thirsty Thursday at 6:35. Friday, post-game fireworks, Joey Chestnut and Chili Buns. Saturday, a boxer giveaway, Chili Buns, and we wrap it up on Sunday with the Kids Day. For tickets, go to windsurge.com and listen to the games on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
This town stars stay up all night. Well, I don't know
Can't see them for the glow of the neon lights, and it's a long way from here to the place where the home fires burn. Well, it's 2,000 miles and one left turn. Dear mom and dad, please send money. I'm so broke that it ain't funny.
I'm old, Jack Young. 146, Pat's here. Pulse coming up. Thanks to Dan Fitzgerald for talking a little baseball with us. If you missed that interview and you like KU baseball, check it out on the podcast.
Omahawks. It's going to happen.
26-10, RPI 21. The season ended today type stuff.
And when it happens, Jack is going to go up to Omaha and broadcast live from there, right?
I'll join him. I'll go up there. I'll go up there on my own dime. Somebody from around here goes to the World Series.
Let me see if. Well, I know Westwood won. We have a partnership with them. I wonder if I can talk to them because I know they'll have people up there. So maybe they'll do a Radio Row for World Series.
I'm familiar with Charles Schwab Field, so I'll sit out in the hall if I have to. I'll face the other way like we are right now. I'll face all the hotels. Jack does love country. Good song right here. Sugarland.
There you go.
What's this gal's name? Do you know?
I'd have to look it up.
Oh, okay, don't. I like Sugarland. All right. It's April 13th. We got overtime later on tonight, 6 o'clock to be exact. And then Surge and Springfield start a series tomorrow night right here at the old ball yard. Coverage starting at 6 o'clock. And we're going to have a very special midday feast here, too. I'll tell you about that tomorrow, too.
You're looking forward to it.
I am very much so. But right now, we got to celebrate some birthdays. Turning 33 today, Melvin Gordon.
Former Chief, but also a Charger and Badger.
Well, if that doesn't tell you how quick a running back's life in the NFL can be over. Jeez, 33?
Dude was fun to watch at Wisconsin.
Yep. Hunter Pence, 43.
Giant.
Yes. Quentin Richardson, 46.
Golden State Warrior.
Very good. Thought that might trip you up. Good job.
I was wondering if, back to Melvin Gordon, if he broke the record. Remember when Samaje Perine ran for a bajillion yards on KU, Jack, of Oklahoma?
Yeah, when he stayed in the game when they were up by 50.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of great totals there. I think Melvin Gordon actually played a Division I team when he did it.
Yeah, he broke LT's 15-year-old FBS single-game rushing record by 2 yards against number 16 Nebraska. He scored 4 rushing touchdowns and only 25 carries in 3 quarters of play. And the record stood for only 1 week.
A week, yeah.
Samaje Perine ran for 427 against Kansas.
Former Chief great, Samaje Perine.
That's how I remember Melvin Gordon. I think back to that week where, dang, look at this guy breaking LT's record. And then, my team gave up the record a week later.
Rainy day in Norman. I remember that. Baron Davis, 47.
Another Golden State Warrior.
Very good. Dan Campbell, 50.
Former tight end and now current Lions head coach.
Correct.
He likes kneecaps.
Apparently.
And apparently taking offensive linemen and put them in a certain spot, but not getting them checked in. And yeah.
Dan Skipper.
Going for it on 4th down.
The Dan Skipper game. Non-Big Four. Nevin Shapiro, 57. Kind of Big Four, but kind of not. Tricky. It's a trick question.
Well, if that's the case, I'll just say like an executive.
No.
Okay.
He's a resident of the state, or was, until he was transferred from federal prison to home in 2020. He's the guy from the University of Miami, the Ponzi scheme guy, the booster.
That's right.
Orchestrated a $930 million Ponzi scheme. His sentence was commuted by then President Joe Biden. The U made Nevin Shapiro famous. He's that little punk that would run out of the tunnel with the smoke. Yeah. Pumping his hands, or pumping his fists, throwing parties on his yacht. That's him. Nevin Shapiro. Happy birthday. Dana Barros, 59. Dana's a guy.
I'll say basketball.
Very good. Yes. Former Boston College great and a Celtic. Backing up a little. Sorry. Going out of order here. Charles Outlaw, 55. Nickname if you need it.
Might as well.
Bo Outlaw. I don't know why his nickname is Bo, but whatever.
Baseball.
Nah. Basketball player. Clipper. Magic. Jack, how would you describe your energy level on a scale of 1 to 10 right now? 1 being flatline, 10 being wired.
5.
Okay.
Five.
Higher than I would have thought. I don't know.
What's wrong with Jack today?
I don't know.
What's the problem?
I don't know.
No, nothing wrong. Just a Monday.
Okay. Jose Rio, 62.
Jose Rio.
Uh-huh. R-I-J-O. Yes. Pitcher. Doug Strange, 62.
Also baseball.
That's right. Also 62. There's 3 guys in a row. Non-Big Four. Davis Love the third.
Olympian.
Don't think so.
Want me to look?
Sure. You can look on Jack's behalf. I think he was over the hill by the time golf was an Olympic sport. PGA Championship, 1997. Davis Love.
Not seeing it.
Yeah. Golf is
not
correct
seeing
answer.
it. Sorry.
Mark Leiter, 63.
Baseball.
Yes. Anything else?
Got a son, Mark Lauder Jr.
Anything else?
Also in relation to Al.
Brother. Which would
and also
make
the
him
uncle of Jack Leiter.
Good, Jack. Good. Made up for Davis Love III. Good job. Non-Big Four. Gary Kasparov, 63.
Hockey.
Not a bad guess. Chess.
No.
That's not nice.
Well, world champion from 1985 to 1993.
Decent.
There's only about 3 chess players, not counting Big Blue, but he's one of them. Deep Blue, the computer. I don't know how old that computer is. Just trying to broaden Jack's horizons. That's all.
Can we look up Deep Blue?
Yeah, I do. Who beat Deep Blue? That's what I want to know. Oh man, we're running out of time.
Gary
Bobby Fischer?
Kasparov?
That's the guy, 63. Bobby Fischer beat Big Blue, or Gary Kasparov beat him?
Deep Blue won 1, drew 2, and then lost 3 games.
Okay.
In 97 and underwent an upgrade. And in a 6-game rematch, it defeated Kasparov by winning 2 games and drawing 3.
Gary Kasparov, pretty smart if you can beat a
Deep
computer.
Blue's victory is considered a milestone in the history of artificial intelligence and has been the subject of several books and films. I did not know that.
No, not surprised. All right, there you go. There's your Monday. Stick around. The Pulse is coming up next. Talk to you tomorrow, everyone.
Bye, Shane.
Goodbye.
Wichita's sports leader. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. KKGQ News.
The 2026 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
Let's get started.
Live from the North Shore of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Have a unique blend of athleticism.
All the teams are sitting there just absolutely licking their chops.
The 2026 NFL Draft.
The Las Vegas Raiders select
Thursday, April 23rd through Saturday, April 25th on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors.
Your home for every moment of the NFL Draft. Coming to ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
For over 55 years and 2 generations, the Southwestern Remodeling Professionals have been providing homeowners in the Wichita area with a truly unique luxury remodeling experience. From the initial consultation through project design and production, our team provides concierge-style service with a true focus on the best quality products and professional installation. Are you ready to experience something truly different? Give us a call today at 263-1239 or visit southwesternremodeling.com.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. On that heavy shelf you hung yesterday. Turns out you didn't use enough anchors. Wait, you didn't use any anchors? Now you've got an open floor plan. Trendy. And if you have the wrong home insurance, you could need a wall of money to fix this. So get home insurance with Allstate and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Introducing Home Care Plus, a new subscription service from Lowe's that helps make life easier by giving members a hand with home maintenance. Let Lowe's tackle the tasks you keep meaning to do, like electric dryer vent cleaning, replacing hard-to-reach light bulbs, and more. Subscribe to Home Care Plus for just $99 a year and consider your to-do list done. Members get more at Lowe's. Available in select zip codes only. Cancel anytime. Non-refundable fee. Product purchase required. Terms and service restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Hey, Wichita, this is Stephen St. John, and I want you to listen to my show every morning from 8 until 10 a.m. right here on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. We're broadcasting live from Kansas City right to you in Wichita every weekday morning, and we want you to be part of the show.
A new day with SSJ on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Dallas Wings on the clock with the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft tonight for a second straight year among those who could be on her way to Dallas. UConn's AC Fudd, Spanish forward Awa Pham, or UCLA forward and national champion Lauren Betts. No clear number 1, but that's not a bad thing, believes ESPN play-by-play announcer Ryan Rucco.
This is a year where there's actually a ton of talent. I mean, there's a lot of, I think, future all-stars and a lot of immediate rotation players and a lot of probably immediate contributing starters on good teams. So it's not like not knowing a clear number 1 is a reflection of a lack of talent. Actually, quite the opposite.
Ryan Rucco on Unsportsmanlike, WNBA draft coverage, 7 Eastern ESPN. Baseball, 2 more Astros placed on the injured list amid that team's 7-game losing streak. Shortstop Jeremy Pena and starting pitcher Tatsuya Imai. After nearly 2 decades in the NHL, a stretch during which he was one of the best goaltenders of his generation, the Rangers' Jonathan Quick announcing his retirement. The 40-year-old won a pair of Stanley Cups with the LA Kings.
When I want that big birthday energy, I grab Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy. It's Vanilla E, buttery cake flavor without the sugar, and it's easy to take anywhere. The Funfetti flavor is back on 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Crack open a Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy shot today.
You're listening to The Pulse with Pat Strathman on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Small town, big dreams, and a young boy the age of 15. Had a premonition his city would get seen. Now I'm winning, get Sheen in the city of the home.
What's up, Wichita? Happy Monday, everyone. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Hopefully you stayed dry for the most part. But a fun weekend, I would say, for us. Like personally, got a chance to hang out with the kiddos and the wife. That was a lot of fun, but it was also an eventful weekend for Wichita State, an eventful weekend for Kansas State in some ways. Maybe not so much for KU, and not so much for the Kansas City Royals. But we have a lot to look back on over the weekend, and we'll get to all those things here in the next couple of hours, right here on The Pulse on Wichita Sports Leader, ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Thanks so much for locking us in to preset number 1 in your vehicle. We sure do appreciate that. 92.3 FM in your car, on the radio. Maybe you're at the house with an old school radio. Some of you still do that, which is totally fine by me. I have an old school radio back in my house. It does have the capability of going Bluetooth mode as well, but I'm not going to lie. I only turn that on from time to time. Usually when I'm listening to the station, it's usually streaming on ESPNWichita.com, which if you haven't checked out ESPNWichita.com yet, you should go and venture on over that way and check out the new look. I think it looks good. Feel free to let us know as well, ESPNWichita.com. We have podcasts on there. We also are streaming and have podcasts on the ESPN Wichita app. And let me just tell you something about the ESPN Wichita app. So, the app, useful for a lot of things. You can listen to the station live. You can check out podcasts with every show here on ESPN Wichita. And I mean every show. Saran Petra with the program, this show, the Shane Dennis Show, New Day with SSJ. Catch it all at your fingertips on the ESPN Wichita app. But something that we have going on right now, I don't know how many of you have noticed this. If you haven't, I'm going to let you know that there is a big giveaway going on the ESPN Wichita app. And it is an app exclusive. It's an app exclusive. Download the ESPN Wichita app. It's very easy to get to. Shouldn't take long to download. You'll see a nice advertisement from the Hill Bar and Grill as soon as you log in. But as soon as you get through that, on the page where it says listen live, ESPN Wichita, the Shane Dennis Show, the podcast right there, at the very bottom, right above the main bar with lineup, Twitter, Facebook, more, listen, there's this little banner that says Banana Ball is coming to town. Click to win a pair of tickets to catch Banana Ball on May 9th at Equity Bank Park. We have a giveaway going on right now. That is an ESPN Wichita app exclusive. If you're listening to me right now and you're like, darn it, I did not get selected for the lottery for Banana Ball coming to Equity Bank Park. It's a big deal. I was fortunate enough to get in the lottery. And you know what? I thought to myself, let's give away a pair of tickets. So if you want to go catch Banana Ball, you need to download the ESPN Wichita app. You tap on the banner at the bottom that says register to win. You can't miss it. It's bright colors because it's Banana Ball. And you'll be redirected to a page that says enter the win Banana Ball tickets. All I need is your name and number. That's all I need. In order for you to enter, you have to download the ESPN Wichita app. It's not a text line option. It's not going to be an option on ESPNWichita.com. It's not going to be a phone call option. No. You have to download the ESPN Wichita app. That is the only way that you can get your hands on a pair of tickets for Banana Ball on May 9th. May 9th is when these tickets are going to be used. May 9th. So if you've been asking around going, hey, do you have tickets? Do you have tickets? You don't? Oh, man, that's terrible. Download the ESPN Wichita app to get your hands on a pair of tickets for Banana Ball. Someone on the text line just said, how many times can I enter? Well, I'm not going to lie. I didn't test to see how many times someone could enter. I guess you could try. Just don't make up your name, please. But I highly recommend doing that now. Of course, we are about a month out. So in the next couple of weeks, we will be accepting entries all the way up until that, I would say probably that Tuesday. So get signed up now for Banana Ball tickets at Equity Bank Park. Pair of tickets, May 9th, Coconuts and Firefighters. All you have to do is head to the ESPN Wichita app. The banner's at the bottom. You tap that, and you'll be able to get registered. Best of luck. It's a huge giveaway that we're doing. A lot of people have been searching high and low for tickets. We have tickets, and we will hook you up. We will hook you up. One of the big promotions that we have on the ESPN Wichita app. We also have cool stuff going on right now on social media. Yes, you can follow us on X and Instagram. But right now we have a Facebook promotion. If you want to go catch NASCAR this weekend at the Kansas Speedway, we are currently giving away some tickets to that on Facebook. There's a video on our Facebook page. All you have to do is like the post, make sure to like our page, and make sure to tag a friend. We will be drawing that in probably less than 24 hours. So that way you can plan on what's going to happen this weekend at the Kansas Speedway. So lots and lots of giveaways for you all. So if you want to win Banana Ball tickets, go to ESPN Wichita app. If you want to win tickets to NASCAR this weekend at the Kansas Speedway, go to Facebook. Cool giveaways that we have going on right now at ESPN Wichita. I'm Pat Strathman. Producing today is Jack Johnson. If you want to be a part of the show, if you feel the need to get something off your chest, you need to actually verbally say something, not just text, feel free to give us a call at 316-669-4996. Text line number is probably the number that most people prefer, 316-666-2285. Our new hire, his name is Jackson Schneider. He has joined our squad, and we're very excited about what he can bring to the table for us moving forward. Jackson, in our meeting today, when we were talking about just everything, we'll have a text line, blah, blah, blah. He goes, what happened to the text line? So I had to share the story once again about how I broke the text line, so that was wonderful. But if you want to use the text line, if you have any thoughts on what took place over the weekend, if you just want to say hello, whatever it might be, use the text line at 316-666-2285. If you want to test it out, if you want to send us a text and go, hey, I'm just testing, feel free to do that. And we'll let you know that you got ESPN Wichita. Because the number has been active for a full week now. So we will confirm to you that you reached ESPN Wichita. 316-666-2285 is the text line number. All right, here's what we got for you today. Lots and lots of basketball talk, believe it or not. It's strange. Lots of portal news. K-State was active over the weekend and active again today in terms of portal additions. Casey Alexander is working really hard on trying to build a squad there in Manhattan, and he landed someone else today, so we will get to the latest for K-State coming up here in a little bit. At 2:45, it will be our Beast of the Week, and I think you already know where I'm going to go for Beast of the Week. At least I feel like you should know what's going on. But we'll see what Jack's got going on as well when it comes to that. In the second hour, KU basketball. So many individuals entering the portal. There is one who is reported on entering the portal, but has yet to officially put his name in there. And there's one that KU fans want to see return, and he is going to stay at Kansas, which I find that to be a somewhat big win, I suppose, for Bill Self. So we'll get to that in hour number 2. At 3:25, Royals. Boy, oh boy. I saw a stat. I'm sure Jack is very much aware of it. I'm sure you all have seen it on social media. We have to talk about some problems with the Kansas City Royals. It's still early. I get it. But it's not like this past weekend was all that stellar for the Kansas City Royals. So we will talk about the boys in blue at 3:25. And then at the very end of the show, we'll do a Mount Rushmore Monday. Jack will pick the topic, and we will have some fun with that. That's what we got for you today. It is April 13, 2026. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks so much for making us a part of your day. Thank you so much for being part of the ESPN Wichita family. Wichita sports leader is ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Big weekend for Wichita State. And I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, oh, yeah, baseball and softball. Some of you might be thinking softball. Well, there was something that took place over the weekend that might trump what took place for Wichita State baseball and Wichita State softball. That seems strange, but it feels pretty big. Let's talk about this, shall we? It's time to cover all the angles, brought to you by Conradi Insurance Group. When life throws the unexpected your way, Conradi Insurance is there, covering all angles. From home and auto to business and beyond, they have you protected. Visit ConradiInsurance.com today. That's Conradi, C-O-N-R-A-D-E, insurance.com. The big story to me for Wichita State, as amazing as it was for baseball on the road, as amazing as it was for softball at home, I mean, heck, throw in the fact that bowling was great over the weekend, losing in the national championship. There's so many things that took place for Shocker Athletics that we can look at and go, wow, what a successful weekend. But there are so many people excited about the direction of Wichita State men's basketball under head coach Paul Mills. You have core guys returning. Michael Gray Jr. is coming back for another season. TJ Williams, Wichita's own, he's not going anywhere. Dylan Battie, who really exploded, came on the scene as he was able to take the spot of the injured Jared Valencia. He really took advantage of his opportunities. He's coming back for another year. You bring back the big 7'2" center in Will Berg, which big men are getting paid boatloads of money in the portal. He ends up staying in Wichita to be a shocker for this upcoming season for 26-27. You throw in Noah Hill from Sunrise Christian Academy. I can go on and on and on about the core guys that Wichita State's been able to retain. But the question is, well, what does Paul Mills do for an encore? What does Portal Paul do for an encore in the transfer portal? How do you top Kenyon Giles? How do you? That's a loaded question. How do you replace him? How do you replace Karan Boyd? Not necessarily for his offense, but a guy who was really good at defense for Wichita State. How you go about replacing those two guys. And yes, there's other guys that they have to replace as well. I saw that Drake Kendall has a laundry list of names of those teams that are contacting him. So, yeah, you do have to worry about trying to replace that type of guy who came off your bench to be a defensive spark plug. You also have a guy in Brian Amunique who didn't do all that much this past year, but he very well could go somewhere else and do much better. So you have some guys that you have to replace, but the number one guy that you have to try and replace is Kenyon Giles. How do you go about doing that if you are Paul Mills and the coaching staff? How do you do it? Well, with the fact that there's so many core guys that have decided that they are coming back for Wichita State, that allows Paul Mills and the coaching staff to really lock in on a particular target that they absolutely love. Who's one guy in the transfer portal that you can go out and get and have him come on by and come on out on a visit and get sold right then and there? That playing for Wichita State is what needs to happen. Well, they hosted a guy on campus. Everything went well, and it ends in a commit. And that is Chattanooga transfer Jordan Freisen, who is going to be a part of this Shockers roster for next year. It is huge. At least it feels like it's huge for him to commit to Wichita State. He's a 6-foot senior to be, so you're only going to have what I would presume is just one season of him to be there. But he checks off a lot of boxes for what Wichita State really is going to need for next season. He is productive. He is efficient. He is experienced. And he looks capable of running an offense in a way that maybe Wichita State couldn't exactly always pull off last season, because he's a little bit different than Kenyon Giles. A guy who played at Pittsburgh State, yes, from the MIAA level, ended up going to Chattanooga and did quite well. At Chattanooga, he averaged 16.7 points, 4.1 assists, a usage rate of 25.2%. He creates more total offense for his team while still scoring at a high level. That's basically what it's telling you right there. You have Michael Gray Jr., who had to really be that point guard. You can take Mike Gray Jr. to maybe go and be that point guard, or you can slide him into a much more comfortable role as being an off-ball guard and a guy who could be a secondary creator, because Gray, you saw his shooting percentage, it dipped. He shot 41% at Nichols, dropped down to 31%. You probably want to see that number go up. Well, he was in a different role that maybe he wasn't exactly used to. But in terms of what Freisen can bring to the table, this is a guy who can be like your Kenyon Giles. This is a guy that can come in and be this next small guard that Paul Mills can take, mold, and make him better, and ends up being a phenomenal player for college basketball. Paul Mills has a fantastic track record of doing that. And it would feel like he is, Freisen that is, not Paul Mills. With him coming in, I feel like he can be like the Kenyon Giles for 26-27. Truly do feel that way about him. He's not one that's probably going to jack up maybe quite as many threes. At least I feel like that would be the case. He knocked down a good amount last year. He did well. It's not like he was a bad three-point shooter, because he very much wasn't. He's a guy that can step back and knock down trays at 45%, but it's not like he jacked up quite as many as Kenyon Giles. But to go with that 16.7 points per game average, he averaged 3 rebounds. We already talked about the assist. He was 56% from the field. 56% from the field. 45% from deep. He made 46 threes in total. His assist-to-turnover ratio was solid, and he ended up being third team all-conference in the Southern Conference. And I know what some people are thinking in the SoCon. The guy had those types of numbers, and he ended up finishing third. What happened? Well, Chattanooga didn't exactly have the best of seasons, but from what I was told, Chattanooga was also a bit banged up, and maybe that was the problem there. But he ended up doing well, making the jump from Division II to Division I, because when he was at the Division II level at Pitt State, he averaged 11 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists as a freshman, was named the MIAA Freshman of the Year. As a sophomore, his production naturally went up from a points per game standpoint to 18.4. His assists went up to 6.1. He shot 50% from the field, and he earned MIAA Player of the Year. Then he hops in the portal, decides to go to Chattanooga, and you don't see him regress, you see him only excel. And there's some encouraging advanced numbers that might get you even more excited if you're a Wichita State fan. His offensive rating on high usage was 122.5. He finished among the national top 100 in effective field goal percentage, true shooting percentage, and assist rate. And according to Synergy, he graded in the 97th percentile nationally as a pick-and-roll ball handler. He scored 1.18 points per possession when he finished those plays. I have a feeling that Paul Mills is going to love to see that type of efficiency, especially from a pick-and-roll standpoint. He went to the rim, did quite well at 69%. He made 67 of his 97 attempts, despite being 6 feet tall. If you need a point of reference, you have Giles Gray and Drake Kendall. They combined to shoot 48% at the rim. So there's a lot to like from this edition. Will he be a carbon copy of Kenyon Giles? No, I don't think you can expect that out of him. But this first portal edition for Wichita State feels pretty gigantic. It feels that way. Only time will tell, right? The guys got to get on campus. They got to get acclimated. And who knows? You got to make sure that mentally everyone's going to be on board. But based on what you see here on paper, this feels like a pretty huge get for Paul Mills and the coaching staff. And as much as Wichita State baseball did well and softball did well, bowling, all those lovely things, to me, that was massive. That was a massive win from this past weekend for Wichita State as they continue to try and build that roster. Now, just because that happened, just because I say that was big, doesn't mean that there weren't other things that took place that weren't noteworthy, because what Wichita State baseball did was very noteworthy. Taking the number one team in the American Conference in UAB, going to their place, and you win 2 of 3 in Birmingham. You fall 4-3 on Friday, and it really felt like Wichita State should have just swept the Blazers. Game was tied at 3, and there was a chance late in the game for Wichita State to get that late run to try to kick off the series with a W. They led 2-0. Started off with a 2-0 lead. A lot of the action happening in the second. You have the home half of the second inning, which UAB answered with a 3 spot. But then you have Quick ending up getting a home run to tie it up at 3 in the 5th frame. And then once you get later in the game, there's a chance to potentially do some damage. And there was a little bit of an error out on the bags in which someone was trying to stretch it out into maybe a double instead of a single. But Wichita State would answer in game 2. They win 5-4 in 10. But in the 9th, you're leading 4-3. You have a chance to lock it up and get that series, even the series, and you give up the run to tie it up in the 9th at 4. And I don't know about you, but most teams that really cough up the run to force the game into extras, I don't know too many teams that would recover and still find a way to get the win. And that's what the Shockers were able to do. You have Owen Rush, who delivers with an RBI single to center field to put the Shockers on top. And then Brady Pasha, who was already out there to try to slam the door shut on UAB, he ends up getting the win. He goes 3 innings. Brady Hamilton, he gave up 3 runs on 4 hits in his 4 innings, but I felt like Dak Sharp to open the game. He was locked in. He gave up a couple of free bags, but only surrendered 1 hit in his 3 innings of work. And then it comes down to the rubber match yesterday with the Shockers trying to claim that series win against a team that has really surprised a lot of people in the American And Wichita State didn't really have any issues in the finale against the Blazers. You have Jacob Gutierrez getting 3 hits in the game yesterday. Nolan Ganter had himself a career day at the plate as he went 3 for 5 with 4 runs driven in. He had 2 homers yesterday for Wichita State. You had the pitching do well as well against UAB. And the Shockers, they end up claiming the series against the UAB Blazers. And now here they are right there in the thick of it with a chance to even maybe find a way to get at the very, very top of the standings. There's a logjam right now in the American Conference. And I can't stress it enough how big of a deal it was for them to get that series win against UAB. We noted how this is really kind of murderer's row for Wichita State. And it started off with a loss to K-State at home, and then you end up losing the series opener against UAB, but they were just one step away from sweeping UAB, and now they'll gear up for Kansas, and then you have a huge series coming up this weekend against East Carolina. And then for softball, really successful for Christie Prep Benner's bunch. 3-2 win over UTSA in the series opener, which started at 10 o'clock in the morning on Friday, didn't finish until 3:15 in the afternoon. Lots of rain that day, which was less than stellar. But then you have the Shockers pounding UTSA 12-4 in 5. Kinsey Woody hits a grand slam and then a 2-run homer to end things in the 5th. And then you see things wrap up with a 3-1 W in that second game with a doubleheader on Saturday. And with Wichita State sweeping UTSA, they're 12-6 in conference play. They're right there in the thick of it for a potential chance of maybe winning an American Conference regular season championship. So it was a stellar weekend for Wichita State across the board. Women's bowling ends up finishing as the national runners-up. They end up falling to Jacksonville State. Jack State was pretty darn sensational while watching everything take place there. And then you throw out the fact that baseball took 2 of 3. Softball swept. You had Jordan Freisen out of Chattanooga committing to Wichita State. If you're Kevin Saul, I can't imagine a better weekend than that. I mean, sure, maybe a sweep of UAB and a national championship. Of course, you can always go for that. But not too shabby this past weekend for Wichita State. All right, we're off and running on a Monday. Your text messages are always welcomed. 316-666-2285. We have Kansas lottery tickets that we have to give away, so stay tuned for that. The number you'll need for that is 316-669-4996. Later on this hour, our Beast of the Week. Hour number 2, KU basketball getting someone to actually stay and not hit the portal. They didn't think that was possible. 3:25, we have to talk about the Roys. Not a lot of fun, but we'll talk about the Royals. And then at the very end of the show, we'll do a Mount Rushmore Monday. Let's take a break right now, though. When we come back, Kansas State men's basketball, very, very active in the portal. They added another person earlier today. They just remain active in the portal. We'll tell you about the latest for Casey Alexander's bunch when we return here on The Pulse on ESPN Wichita.
The heartbeat of Wichita sports fans. The Pulse on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
What's up, Wichita? The weekend is finally here. No, I know. We just got done with the weekend. It's a Monday. What I'm saying is this weekend you have NASCAR coming back to the Kansas Speedway. Kansas Speedway will once again bring the excitement of NASCAR back to Kansas City this weekend, April 18 and 19. The action-packed race weekend will kick off on April 18 with the ARCA Menard Series Tide 150 at 11:30 in the morning, followed by the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Kansas Lottery 300 at 6 o'clock. On Sunday, that's when you will see the world's best drivers race to the line during the Advent Health 400 at 1 o'clock. Kansas Speedway's spring race, that is the home to the closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series history when Kyle Larson beat Chris Buescher at the line by a mere 0.001 seconds in the 2024 Advent Health 400. Tickets are going fast, so secure yours today at kansasspeedway.com. NASCAR returning to Kansas City at the Kansas Speedway this weekend, April 18 and 19.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs. You just bought a home in the suburbs, but no one told you about all the birds, specifically this one, who seems to be calling out Roy. Roy. But who exactly is Roy? And why doesn't he ever respond? Maybe Roy is just bird speak for save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto. I guess until Roy answers, we'll never know. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
The future will be amazing, and that's all well and good. But what about today? You can feel the rush of a 400-horsepower Nissan Z, or climb to new heights in the all-terrain Nissan Frontier. Light up the road in the all-electric Nissan Ariya that feels like a sci-fi dream come true. The future will be great, but today is made for thrill. All you have to do is get in a Nissan and drive. 2023 Ariya and Z not yet available for purchase. Expected availability is this spring for 2023 Z and this fall for 2023 Ariya.
So many men and ladies are caring for aging parents while trying to manage careers, kids, and daily life. Kansas PACE understands that strain and provides real support from medical coordination and therapies to transportation, home help, and a social day center. Your loved one receives high-quality care while you keep your life moving. Kansas PACE isn't just a program, it's a partner that brings peace of mind and relief to families. Explore services and see if your parent qualifies at kansaspace.org.
The Wind Surge return home for a series against the Springfield Cardinals. It starts with a Dillon's 2 for Tuesday with the Tumbavacas. Wednesday, 11:05 day game. Then a Turbo Tubs Thirsty Thursday at 6:35. Friday, post-game fireworks, Joey Chestnut and Chili Buns. Saturday, a boxer giveaway, Chili Buns, and we wrap it up on Sunday with a Kids Day. For tickets, go to windsurge.com and listen to the games on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Well, it might seem like it's just the two of us, Jack Johnson and myself. But, of course, you are always welcome to chime in at any point. Feel free to hit us up on the text line, 316-666-2285. Feel free to give us a text. We'd love to hear from you today. Big weekend for Wichita State. It also was an active weekend for Kansas State's men's basketball. Casey Alexander in his first year trying to build a roster. And the first one that he landed, we mentioned how, all right, guy transferred in from Murray State. Not one who's really done a whole heck of a lot. Guy who started at Creighton ends up transferring to Murray State, which was, I believe, his third team at the time. And you look at the numbers, and it's nothing really sensational, right? It's a guy that I don't think is going to get a boatload of playing time. And we talked to Mason Voth a little bit about it last week as well. We had him on the airwaves, and I basically was like, well, so what's really the plan of attack for this K-State's men's basketball coaching staff? Well, they ended up getting 2 individuals in one day, if you can really believe that. And then they added another one for today. Let's start with the ones that decided to choose Kansas State to kick off the weekend. Brandon Recksteiner is a 6'1" guard from Colorado State. He chose the Wildcats after putting up some decent numbers as a junior for the Rams last year. This past season, he averaged 12 points. He made 40% of his shots from three-point range. Wichita State might be familiar with this guy because against Colorado State ended up being a team that they squared off with in the Battle for Atlantis tournament. The 40% shooting from distance. I understand, guy from Colorado State, maybe not going to turn a lot of heads, but like I mentioned before about this K-State men's basketball team and the direction that they're going to go, and Mason really agreed with it too, this is going to be a different approach for Casey Alexander and Kansas State. And really in general, just for K-State as a university is going to be a little bit different because of the reasons of Colin Klein coming in. Naturally, you're going to have a shift in some of the numbers and some of the dollars and cents, and it ends up going more for football and not necessarily looking at men's basketball. We've seen K-State really pour resources into men's basketball and seeing it not pay off with Jerome Tang, who did bring in some guys who were maybe talented, but guys who didn't necessarily fit well. They didn't exactly get along with others and so on and so forth. That's why you saw the past couple of years for K-State. That's why you've seen them not do well over the last couple of years, and that's why they're making a change there with Casey Alexander. But I would imagine that the dollars, Casey Alexander, Gene Taylor, they probably discussed it, saying, here you go, here's the budget. Not going to be as high as you probably expected, but if you start to win, we're going to see this budget go up a little bit more. And with Casey Alexander getting a guy to come over from Murray State, I basically said, well, that's probably going to be the theme because Casey Alexander is going to know more about the non-Power 4 schools. He's going to be comfortable with those guys who are maybe getting overlooked, bringing them in and then trying to develop them. And I have a feeling that's going to be the case for Rex Steiner. But anytime you get a guy who shoots 40% from distance, I think you will take it. Wichita State got one in Brian Amunique not too long ago, right? And the one thing I noted was he played for Fresno State. They won 7 to 8 games. They were dreadful. Yeah, your shooting percentage can look pretty good when you're squaring off against the guys like walk-ons, and you can really shoot some threes and get some easy buckets that way. That's not the case here with Rex Steiner because Colorado State was a pretty solid team. They played well this past year. And to be able to bring him in, a run and gun type of offense that Casey Alexander wants to bring to Bramlage Coliseum, not too shabby. There's something about this Virginia Tech theme, though. We'll get to that here in a little bit because Rex Steiner started his college basketball career with the Hokies. He spent 2 seasons at Virginia Tech before going to Colorado State. He was the Rams' leading scorer, and he's got 1 year of eligibility remaining. Someone else at K-State was able to land was an Oregon transfer. I would imagine Desdrick Lindsay is his name. Don't think it'd be Desdrick. I'm almost positive it's Desdrick. He committed to K-State on Friday as well. He's a 6'6" forward. He averaged just 5 points, 3 rebounds for the Ducks this past season. He did have some double-digit games, not a ton, obviously, when he averaged 5 points per game. He had a 16-point performance against Penn State, scored 14 against Creighton. He's going to bring some size and athleticism to the front court. He is going to have some eligibility for him. So we'll just see how much eligibility he's really going to have, though, because you just never know. Like, you assume that, well, I got 3 years, and then it turns out to be 1, or one guy's got 1 year and it ends up being 3. So Casey Alexander gets 2 guys, one being a 40% shooter from distance, which they will gladly accept to pair with Andre Kostic, because those are your top 3-point shooters right now. And if you are going to take guys at the Power 4 level, you have a feeling that it's going to be these types of cats who are maybe looking for more playing time and something to prove. And I feel like that's the case with Desdrick Lindsay committing to Kansas State. But then add one more. Another one committing to Kansas State. They've been on fire in terms of getting guys in the portal. This would be their fourth edition. Jaden Shute has committed to Kansas State. He spent 2 seasons at Duke before he was at Virginia Tech the last 2 years. He only appeared in 14 games as a true freshman with the Blue Devils. In his sophomore campaign, he suffered a left knee injury, forced him to have surgery. He had the red shirt, which would end up being his final season at Duke. He was a starter in his first year at Virginia Tech. He led the team in minutes before coming off the bench this past season. He led the Hokies in three-pointers made for the second consecutive season with 65. He attempted at least 5 3-pointers per game in each of his 2 seasons at Virginia Tech. As a recruit, Shute was a 4-star prospect back in the day. He had a lot of teams trying to pick him up. He was being recruited by Michigan State, Ohio State, Florida, Louisville, Illinois, among many, many others. In the 2022 class, 24/7 Sports rated him as the number 78 overall prospect and number 8 overall shooting guard. But once again, Casey Alexander, what does he want to try to bring to K-State? Guys that can shoot. Guys that can come in and jack up some 3 balls. And that's what you're going to get with Shute, who is joining the squad. You have all these outgoing transfers, also some seniors who are obviously graduating, but you have 4 incoming transfers: Destrick Lindsay from Oregon, Brandon Recksteiner of Colorado State, Brock Weiss of Murray State, and now you throw in Shute. You have 2 incoming recruits in Jalen Alexander and Devin Hutcherson. Andre Kostic is returning. So you already have some of these spots being filled, still have a little ways to go for Casey Alexander, but you're already getting a flavor and really a taste of the flavor of what Casey Alexander is going to bring to the table. When he was the head coach at Belmont, those teams could shoot. They were always efficient. They always launched threes. They always made them on a regular basis. And no surprise that you're already getting a good taste of that with the roster that is currently being constructed by the new head men's basketball coach at Kansas State. In case you're wondering about one of those departing players who are transferring out, Taj Manning is going to be at Iowa State. Last time I saw the report, that's going to feel a little bit different. Farmageddon, K-State, Iowa State. He's going to be repping a Cyclone jersey rather than a Wildcat jersey. And the big one, PJ Haggerty, he ends up finding a new home. He is committed to Texas A&M. He'll go down to College Station and be a part of the Aggies, which I'm sure there's a good amount of coin that Texas A&M is probably throwing his way. There's also an update on a couple of KU transfers, outgoing guys. We'll get to that coming up in hour number 2 when we spend some time talking about the Jayhawks. But, Jack, I know you've been sitting there just kind of twiddling your thumbs. I've been kind of just waiting for the moment to bring you in, and now's the time. I know on paper it's not looking all that great for Casey Alexander and K-State, but this is what is to be expected, right? Seeing guys that can shoot the rock from distance, shooting at a 40% clip. Guys are going to launch up the threes. It just feels like that Casey Alexander did that well in Belmont, and no surprise that he's trying to do something similar there in Manhattan. What do you make of the first 4 hires here for hires? That's what it is. They're really employees. The first 4 guys that Casey's been able to get from the portal.
Well, it's not always about grabbing the best guys in the portal. It's more so about finding the guys that fit your scheme, that fit your offense, and will be able to compete in the Big 12. Do we know if these guys are able to do that? We don't really until they get out there on the floor, but there's a couple different ways to look at it. You certainly can be the optimist and go, well, last couple of years, K-State's had one of the more expensive rosters in the Big 12, and the teams just weren't very good. They missed the tournament by a wide margin. And so maybe a guy like Casey Alexander coming in and bringing in guys that want to stay, want to develop, want to be a Kansas State Wildcat, that might be more important. And it's not going to be solved in one day. This program is not going to go from where it was last year to all of a sudden a perennial power in the Big 12 overnight. We certainly saw Jerome Tang come in and have success in year one, but he was able to retain a lot of the guys that, were on Bruce Weber's team, like a Marquise Noel. They landed the Keontae Johnson. They landed the Naquan Tomlin, Ishmael Massoud. There were multiple guys that were big-time impact players where I don't believe it's the wrong route if Casey Alexander brings in some guys that might be there a couple years. I mean, they're coming from smaller schools. Maybe they started, maybe they didn't. But if they're around a couple of years, maybe you do put a timeline on this. We, might not be great in year one, but it also beats being as bad as you were last year, and you got to start all over again. The high school ranks, going from there, bringing in guys that weren't getting much playing time elsewhere to maybe get more run time at K-State. That might be the way to go about this thing. And no K-State fan should panic because really none of us know how it's all going to work in the portal. There have been teams that load up on number one portal classes and they suck because teams or guys come in there and they're only there for the money. I kind of like the approach that he's going with. Add a couple of shooters here and there, add a couple of guys that maybe fit the style that Belmont had, and take your chances. If it's ugly in year one, try to retain those guys and build on it in year two. This needs to be more of an old school approach than to fix things and fix everything in 1 year. Because honestly, I think the boosters need to see this guy have some success building before they start funneling in all that money again like they did for Tang the last couple of years.
100%. And I get when we had Mason on last week, it just made sense to me. If something didn't work before, why would you go about trying to do the exact same thing, thinking that it's going to be a little bit different, especially with a new guy? I think you start somewhere, you see wins come in, and when you start to see more wins, that's when you will get some more dollars to back up that program. So I don't mind the direction that Casey Alexander is going. Getting a couple of three-point shooters, I wouldn't be surprised if he'll go after a few more. They're probably going to be a little bit undersized, would be my guess. And I'm sure that's going to be the question I would have for Casey Alexander is, what can they do in terms of trying to get some bigger dudes there for the front court? That's going to be my main question, because you look at a type of team that wants to get up and down and shoot. Well, you're thinking like a 5-out type of system. Is that really going to work in a conference like the Big 12? Probably going to be a little bit challenging. So I'll be curious to see how Casey Alexander goes about addressing the big man situation a little bit more. Hour 2 is approaching. If you are a Kansas fan, be patient. We'll get to the Hawks coming up in a little bit. We do have Kansas Lottery tickets to give out, Mount Rushmore Monday, Royals talk, all of that coming up in hour number 2. When we come back, we'll get to our Beast of the Week to wrap up hour number 1.
This is
Live
the
read.
Pulse.
Yes, sir.
On Wichita's new sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
What's up, Wichita? The weather is starting to get nice, although we got a bunch of rain this past weekend. It won't be long before we start having some thunderstorms. Well, have you thought about taking care of your roof? Back in the summer when we had that massive hailstorm, my house was hit extremely hard. Not only did the roof take significant damage, but so did my siding and pergola. It looked terrible. If you want pictures, I'll be more than happy to show you them, because I still can't believe what the hail did to my house. While others came to my door to try to earn my business, I put my trust in one person. I put my trust in the leader in the roofing industry, in Eaton Roofing and Exteriors. They specialize in roof repairs, full roof replacements, siding, gutters, and complete exterior upgrades. And they don't just show up. They show up on time, they communicate clearly, and they treat your home like it's their own. What really sets them apart? Honest inspections and straightforward pricing. No high-pressure sales tactics, just experienced professionals helping you make the best decision for your home and your budget. So don't wait until a small issue becomes a major problem. Protect your home. Protect your investment. Call Eaton Roofing and Exteriors today for your free inspection and estimate. Quality work, trusted service, done right the first time. Eaton Roofing and Exteriors, here for the life of your home.
In business, just like in sports, the best defense wins games. That's where Conradi Insurance comes in, delivering elite risk management and employee benefits to companies across the greater Wichita area. As the largest family-owned independent insurance agency in Wichita, we don't just talk the talk, we protect Kansas businesses like they're part of our team. Conradi Insurance, built for business, rooted in community, always playing to win. Visit ConradiInsurance.com to get in the game.
Hi, this is Jeremy Huckabee with Jana King of Wichita. College basketball season is heating up, and we're proud to be the official corporate partner of Kansas Jayhawk Athletics. Just like championship teams rely on strong fundamentals, businesses across Wichita rely on Jana King for professional, dependable commercial cleaning. From offices and medical facilities to schools and industrial spaces, our local franchise owners can deliver a clean you can count on. If you're ready to see what it looks like when cleaning is done the right way, let us show you. Visit janaking.com today to schedule your free cleaning consultation.
Roll into excitement at Crosswinds Casino. Join us Thursdays in April for the Dice Duel Hot Seat. Every 30 minutes from 4 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., two players will go head-to-head, rolling dice for wins play. The highest roll wins up to $400 wins play. Don't miss the action. Sign up for your Club Wins card at Crosswinds Casino and let the good times roll. So close, so fun. Visit CrosswindsCasino.com for details. The 2026 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
Let's get started.
Live from the North Shore of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Have a unique blend of athleticism.
All the teams are sitting there just absolutely licking their chops.
The 2026 NFL Draft.
The Las Vegas Raiders select
Thursday, April 23rd through Saturday, April 25th on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors.
Your home for every moment of the NFL Draft. Coming to ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
What is this? I'm Old Jax Young. Did we use this last week? I think it was.
Oh, did we?
I think so. I think we did. It was recent. I don't care, Jack. I'm happy with that song. I love that song, so it's totally fine. But, of course, I hear this song, and I'm like, I recently heard this probably within the last, week. But there's nothing wrong with that. So let's get to our Beast of the Week. It's pretty easy for me to go with the Beast of the Week. The Masters just got done. Rory McIlroy going back-to-back. What a performance. What would have happened if Scottie Scheffler makes his birdie on hole number 17? If that ends up happening, I think it would have been a little bit different. I think it would have maybe put a little bit too much pressure on Rory, and that could have been a problem. But that's not my real Beast of the Week. My real Beast of the Week goes to the Wichita boy, Sam Stevens, who went to Augusta National to play in the Masters, and he ended up wrapping up his debut appearance with a 2-under 70 yesterday. Wrapped it up. He finished 72 holes at 2-under 286. Ended up finishing in a tie for 24. That guy, not too long ago, was playing in the Wichita Open, which, by the way, we're getting closer and closer to the Wichita Open. Crazy to think about, but it's going to be here before you know it at the end of June. But Sam Stevens, former Cape and Crusader, he has just slowly but surely climbed the ladder. And the one thing I just cared about was just make the cut. You get a chance to go to the Masters for the first time, a childhood dream come true. Just make the cut. Not only did he make the cut, but he ends up finishing strong. 2-under for the tournament, tied for 24th, and I believe he made over $200,000. So job well done to my Beast of the Week, Sam Stevens. Jack, your Beast of the Week is who?
I'll give it to Chris Sale on Sunday Night Baseball. He threw 6 innings, a 1-run ball against the Guardians and struck out 6. But more importantly, he notched his 2,600th strikeout of his career and also touched 99.5 miles an hour on a pitch. Keep in mind, he's 37 years old and still running it up that high. So absolutely another dominant start and still one of the better pitchers in the National League. So Chris Sale will be my Beast of the Week.
Chris Sale, not a bad pick. Not a bad pick at all. That does it for the first hour. Boy, it went by so fast. Hour number 2 will probably be just as quick. I know it's a Monday. Tough day for a lot of you. We'll try to make your Monday a little bit better. One more hour to go. Your text messages always welcomed at 316-666-2285. We'll give away Kansas lottery tickets. Hour 2 should be a boatload of fun. Don't go anywhere. The Pulse returns after a little bit of a break. We'll be back soon.
Wichita's sports leader. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. KKGQ Newton. The ESPN Wichita app is available now for both Android and Apple. Go to your app store and download today. All you have to do is search ESPN Wichita and take the station with you wherever you go. While you're there, find podcasts of your favorite shows. Sign up for our app-only contests. Send a text into the show and much more. The ESPN Wichita app, your source for sports in Wichita. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Spring's here in Kansas, and that means warmer weather, but also spring storms. If your roof took a beating this winter, now's the time to get it checked out. Call the experts at AR Roofing in Wichita. Their team will inspect your roof, identify any damage, and help you stay ahead of costly repairs before the spring rains roll in. Whether it's missing shingles, leaks, or storm damage, call AR Roofing today or visit arroofing.com and schedule your spring roof inspection. AR Roofing, Wichita's #1 referred roofing company.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs. You just bought a home in the suburbs, but no one told you about all the birds, specifically this one, who seems to be calling out Roy. Roy. But who exactly is Roy? And why doesn't he ever respond? Maybe Roy is just bird speak for save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto. I guess until Roy answers, we'll never know. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided in service by affiliates and third-party insurers.
And we are all tied up in the bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded. Electric in here. Electric. It all comes down to this pitch. You throw the fastball here. But it looks like Brock is walking off the field and is leaving the stadium. What is going on here?
I'm getting word that he left to get a taco.
When you need a taco, you need a taco. Introducing the new Cantina Crispy Melt Taco, only from Taco Bell. At participating U.S. locations for a limited time only.
Introducing Home Care Plus, a new subscription service from Lowe's that helps make life easier by giving members a hand with home maintenance. Let Lowe's tackle the tasks you keep meaning to do, like electric dryer vent cleaning, replacing hard-to-reach light bulbs, and more. Subscribe to Home Care Plus for just $99 a year and consider your to-do list done. Members get more at Lowe's. Available in select zip codes only. Cancel anytime. Non-refundable fee. Product purchase required. Terms and service restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
All right, fellas, listen up. You spend money on game tickets, wings, and beer like it's nothing. But when it comes to your girl, don't fumble. Big event coming up, date night, wedding, girls trip, whatever it is, you want her walking in like a 10. That's where Peyton at Sunscape Sunless Tanning comes in. We're talking flawless glow, confidence through the roof, and yeah, all eyes on your girl. And trust me, when she feels good, your night gets a whole lot better. So stop scrolling, hit book on Instagram at Sunscape_spray tans to lock it in today. Because champions don't wing it, they plan ahead.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Stars will be out tonight in New York City for the 2026 WNBA Draft. 7 Eastern on ESPN. Top overall pick belongs to Dallas. No real consensus, #1, but there are, of course, a handful of collegiate stars expected to have a major impact at the next level. One in particular could do that for several teams, including Dallas, according to ESPN WNBA analyst Monica McNutt.
When you look at what Dallas has done with free agency and so far in terms of retooling their roster, they kind of have enough bigs put in place. They re-signed Arike Ogunbowale. They have Paige Beckers. Both of those young women are ball-dominant sort of guards. So it makes sense that you find a shooter. And that would mean AZ Fudd is probably going to be the first #1 pick.
The NBA announced the 36 officials who will work the play-in tournament and first round of the playoffs. Among them, Natalie Sago. She is the third woman in league history selected for postseason work. The reeling Astros on a 7-game slide placed shortstop Jeremy Pena and starting pitcher Tatsuya Imai on the injured list. Two-time Stanley Cup champion Rangers goalie Jonathan Quick announcing he's retiring after almost 20 NHL seasons.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, I'll tell you just how many NBA teams are really title contenders. Here's a hint. It's not as many as you think. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
It's just a public service announcement sponsored by Just Blaze and the good folks at Rockefeller Records.
Fellow Americans, it is with the utmost pride and sincerity that I present this recording as a living testament and recollection of history in the making during our generation.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Ho, H to the O-V. I used to move snowflakes.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 is officially here on this lovely Monday afternoon. It is The Pulse. I'm Wichita sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM. In addition to that, radio, check us out on a video stream, YouTube, Facebook, and X. You can also stream the show and just listen on ESPNWichita.com. If you have a smart speaker, tell it to tune into ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM or KKGQ and the ESPN Wichita app, which a lot of you have already downloaded. A lot of you already have it downloaded. So maybe you've already registered, but if you haven't downloaded the app yet to listen to the shows, to podcast the shows, let me tell you why now is the best time to download the ESPN Wichita app. For starters, you're not going to get hit with a boatload of things, all right? You're not going to get spammed by anyone. That's not going to happen. Let's start with that. But we are doing giveaways on that app. We have done giveaways on multiple levels already for the past 365 days. We've given away stuff on the text line. We've given away stuff on the hotline. We have told you that, hey, come to this location, show me you have the app, and you'll be registered to win something. Well, now we are doing something specifically on the app for a giveaway. A lot of you are looking ahead to next month. And you're probably thinking, how do I go about getting my hands on a pair of tickets for Banana Ball at Equity Bank Park? How do I go about doing that? I have your tickets. The way you register is an app-only giveaway. First and foremost, download the ESPN Wichita app. At the bottom, you'll see a banner. It'll say, click to register. 2 tickets to Banana Ball at Equity Bank Park, Coconuts and Firefighters. 2 tickets to May 9th. That's the day. No, I can't swap them out for the other days. 2 tickets to Banana Ball on the ESPN Wichita app. Download the app. At the very bottom, you'll see this colorful banner. You tap on that. All I need is your name, first and last, and number. That's all I need. And you'll officially be entered to win a pair of tickets to catch Banana Ball at Equity Bank Park. I had one person send a text last week when I was hinting at something. They said, there's one way for me to download the app. I'm assuming they prefer to listen to us on radio, which I totally understand. But there's one way for me to get the app, and that would be Banana Ball tickets. Well, texter, and all of you listening, a pair of tickets can be yours for Banana Ball. We'll run this contest for a couple of weeks, but just know, in order to register, it is an app exclusive. ESPN Wichita app. Download it today. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Pat Strathman. Producing this thing is Jack Johnson, also contributing in many, many ways outside of being a producer. Feel free to hit us up at 316-669-4996. Kansas Lottery folk. We have a lot of you that listen to us to try to win some potential cash. Kansas Lottery tickets we will give out at some point this hour. You will need the number 316-669-4996. The text line number is 316-666-2285. If you haven't updated your contacts yet, I would change that because the old number, poof, it's gone. But we have this new text line number, and it works. And if you want to test it, feel free to send us a test text if you want, 316-666-2285. Or if you just want to say hi, if you have thoughts on K-State basketball, KU basketball, whatever, Royals, feel free to hit us up, 316-666-2285. We have all sorts of social media platforms. We have X, we have Instagram. We also have Facebook. And by the way, on Facebook, we have a contest going on there. We will probably end it tomorrow. So just FYI, we are giving away tickets for NASCAR this upcoming weekend at the Kansas Speedway. A lot of you I know are big-time NASCAR fans. In order for you to register, stroll on over to Facebook, ESPN Wichita 92.3. Find the post, hit like, make sure you are following our Facebook page, and make sure to tag a friend. That's how you can enter to win to go see NASCAR this weekend at the Kansas Speedway. We have so many giveaways going on, y'all, and we're so excited for that. So go ahead and get registered for that by going to Facebook. Coming up in a little bit, I'm sure Jack has thoughts on the Kansas City Royals. I also have thoughts on the boys in blue. A little bit of an underwhelming series with the Chicago White Sox. We will address that coming up in a little bit. 3:45, we'll wrap things up with the Mount Rushmore Monday. Before I tell you about the latest for KU basketball, I want to remind you that there is one place in town to catch all of the sporting events your heart desires. The only place you need to go to is Twin Peaks. They have two locations in this town, one out east at 21st and Rock. If you are a West Sider, Ridge and Taft, in fact, next Thursday, we will be out at Twin Peaks West at Ridge and Taft. The reason why we're going to be out there, we'll get you ready for the NFL draft, baby, which we'll have coverage right here on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Next Thursday, we'll be at Twin Peaks West. If you don't want to wait that long, I don't blame you. I don't want to wait that long. Happy hour going on, 29-degree man-sized drafts. They have a food menu that is just sensational, and we all know about the atmosphere. Check out our friends at Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views. Well, this past weekend, Wichita State able to get a commit in the transfer portal. Jordan Freisen from Chattanooga. Pretty good get for Paul Mills and company. Kansas State's with two over the weekend, both happening on the same day on Friday. They added another one today, and they had one last week before Friday. So 4 portal additions for Kansas State. What about Kansas? What are the Jayhawks up to? Well, it's been pretty quiet, honestly. It's been pretty quiet. It's been very, very quiet. Everyone's been wondering, though, does Cole Rosario decide to return? Does Cole Rosario come back for another season? If you poll 100 KU supporters, I have a feeling out of the 100, you will probably get, 75% of the people, those who get polled, they will probably tell you, I would like to see the return of Cole Rosario. Would like to see him to return. We've seen so many guys enter the portal for Kansas. Some have already found new homes. We'll get to that coming up here in a little bit. But Bill Self, when he announced his return, you're thinking, well, surely someone's going to stick around and be a part of this Kansas men's basketball program. Flory Badunga, Bryson Tiller, just to name a few entering the portal. Well, surely someone's going to stick around and recognize that the opportunity is going to be there. Well, Cole Rosario is for sure a unique case. One who decided to go to Kansas early. Many are thinking that he's just going to come in and just be a flamethrower. He's just going to knock down 3-ball after 3-ball after 3-ball. Turns out that's not the case for Cole Rosario. He ends up ending the season strongly. He ended up with a couple of big plays for Kansas in a loss to St. John's. When we were talking to Shreyas Latta last week, I think Shreyas said that Darren Peterson knocked down all the trays of the NCAA tournament up to the point when Cole Rosario became the first Jayhawk to get a 3 other than Darren Peterson in the tournament. He knocked down the tray, and you're thinking, all right, well, that was a big 3. You see him get a big offensive rebound and put back. You see the potential there. And, of course, a lot of Kansas fans in typical fashion questioning the coaching. Well, hold on a second. Look at what this guy's able to do. How come he hasn't been playing all throughout the year? Well, we don't really know all of the secrets. It's not like Cole Rosario's three-point shooting was all that great throughout the course of the season. Defensively was a little bit of a liability as well. Maybe didn't finish at high enough of a clip around the rim. I think there are plenty of reasons why maybe Cole Rosario didn't get those minutes as he would probably want. But with him having that type of performance at the very end, you're thinking, all right, well, maybe that could be a springboard moment. But maybe not for Kansas. Maybe he'll go somewhere else, find a new team, get adjusted, and tear it up with his new team. Well, Cole Rosario, who's been pretty quiet on this entire situation, Jeff Goodman, Field of 68, he reports that Cole Rosario is expected to return for a sophomore season. Now, according to the KC Star, Shreyas Latta, neither Kansas nor Rosario's agent responded to requests for comment. Rosario's return is a notable one, though. Up and down year for Kansas, showed signs of promise to finish the season. He averaged just 3.4 points in 11.6 minutes per game. But that spark off the bench against St. John's is what caught everyone's attention. And you're thinking, okay, here we go. Well, Shreyas Latta last week, he did mention how Cole Rosario's mindset is maybe a little bit different than most. Quote, nothing in this life that is valued comes with instant gratification. It's a good lesson right now. I'm not seeing the results right now, but I'm still working. I'm not going to give up no matter what I do. I don't know when my time is, but I know it's going to come. The KU staff has praised Rosario's work ethic and character, but there was hope he'd provide more consistent shooting and play a bigger role this past season. Shot just 29% from distance this past year. Not great. Shreyas Latta did mention that 2 NBA scouts told him that they believe Cole Rosario very well could be a long-term pro prospect. There's a little ways to go to get to that point, but you did see some promise. I just thought with him deciding to go to Kansas a little bit earlier than anticipated, I think that really just threw him in a very tough situation. First off, Kansas fans thinking that this guy's going to come in and just light it up. it was very clear early on that the game was a little bit too fast for him. And I always love thinking back to numerous coaches who I've talked to. And their favorite thing is my favorite part about freshmen is they become sophomores. And some transition to that point a little bit faster than most. Some need a full freshman year in order to get acclimated and for them to truly feel comfortable. And if you're a Kansas fan, you're hoping that's the case, but it is promising to have him return. I don't know if I would pencil him in as a starter because we just don't know what Kansas is going to do to try and replace the amount of guys that they're losing. But for Bill Self and the coaching staff, I'm sure it feels good to at least have one win. One guy who was a rotation guy from last year decide to stick around for another season. Cole Rosario returning. Now, we're also wondering what's going to happen with Paul Mbia. And the reason why this is intriguing is because Trey Islata, he noted this on social media and in an article. Paul Mbia has announced his intentions to transfer, but he hasn't officially filed the paperwork. Now, what does that mean? Well, with Cole Rosario returning, is that going to maybe help things out for Paul Mbia to make a decision to come back or not? I don't know. I would also think that Paul Mbia probably has to be wondering, and his agent have to be thinking too, well, with Flory Badunga leaving and Bryson Tiller leaving, well, there's a starter spot right there for the taking. And Paul Mbia didn't really have the opportunities to shine this past year, much like Cole Rosario. But Paul Mbia, when he came in, very clear that he was a freshman, still trying to figure things out. But you see the athleticism, you see the size. You're thinking that that guy very well could flourish there for Bill Self, who is regarded as one of the better big man coaches out there in college basketball. If he comes back for another season, surely he turns into a monster for Kansas next season. But we don't know if he's really going to enter or if this is a very typical agent thing of, well, let's go ahead and say he's going to enter so I can see the amount of money that is going to be thrown my way. And then I can make a decision. And Paul Mbia can make a decision on, well, coach, turns out he's got $1 million over here. If you make it 1.5 mil, we'll stay. Sometimes that's all this is too, because let's be real. That's what college basketball is like. That's what college athletics is like nowadays. You have agents who are running things. And agents, they're going to view things a little bit differently. And they're going to go, well, I want what's best for my client. My client deserves to be paid $1.5 million. He's currently at 1. You make it 1.5 and he's yours. That's what agents like to do. And that's not going to stop. Hate to break it to you, but that's just going to continue to get worse moving forward. So good news for sure with Cole Rosario. You could build something with him. Of course, he's not a guy that I would picture to be the KU's best player next season. Don't really view it as that because I think Bill Self's got a lot of work to be done, but he could be a good rotational piece coming off the bench, although who knows what was promised to him too for that matter. But with him having such an up and down season, the hope is, all right, you got it out of your system, come back, and you're going to really flourish as a sophomore. Paul Mbia, we just don't know. He's not officially in the portal yet, so there's still hope if you're a Kansas fan. And if you were to ask, like I said about Cole Rosario, how many people would say I would want Cole Rosario to return? I think you would have a lot of those same people who think, yes, I want Cole Rosario to come back. They're very much in the corner of Paul Mbia to return as well. Guys that could end up being good players with Bill Self. But nowadays, you have the instant gratification. You have the demand for success right away from a fan base. There's so many things that you have to handle nowadays than ever before. But Cole Rosario coming back, I think, is a good starting point. Paul Mbia, I have high hopes that he can return, but only time will tell. Now, we did officially see a resolution for Flory Badunga, someone who was being targeted by Arizona, someone being targeted by Duke. I think Michigan was even trying to get in there as well. And it's neither of those programs. It's Louisville that ends up getting the commitment from former Kansas big man Flory Badunga. They also got Oregon guard Jackson Shellstad as well. Both of them committed to the Cardinals yesterday. The move announces Coach Pat Kelsey's Louisville program as a contender in the ACC and even beyond. Badunga ranked number 1 in the portal rankings. Shellstad was number 11. Right now, Louisville has the best portal haul this offseason, but we all know it's going to take a little bit of time before we can officially judge that. But Flory Badunga, when he entered the portal, the number that was being thrown out there was, $5 million for Flory Badunga? And Treyas and I last week talking about this, thinking, well, hold on a second. If the budget for Kansas last year was $10, $11 million, around there, let's say that Badunga was a guy who got $4 million last year. Could you imagine having half of the NIL budget being ate up by one guy? That just wouldn't go well. Do we think that Flory Badunga got the $5 million? I don't know. I would bet it's closer to that than the other direction, which I think some were thinking, the number's $2 million. I bet you got a little bit closer to the $5 million. And hey, listen, good for Flory if that's the case. I know here we are in college athletics and looking at a broken system. And it feels like a lot of the shade is being thrown at, so many different people. But the one thing that's really not getting talked about enough is the fact that some of these colleges are willing to pay this money for these guys. At some point, you got to look at that and go, well, they can't complain. Kentucky can't complain when you're throwing out $20 million. You're willing to pay someone $7 million. If you're willing to pay that, then that's on you, homie. At some point, you have to take a step back and go, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And more colleges are going to have to do something like that in order to change stuff like that. If you don't want Flory Badunga to go out there and search for $5 million, you can poo-poo on the idea that $5 million is too high, but someone's willing to give him a boatload of money. Someone's willing to do that. Is Flory worth $5 million? No, he's not worth $5 million. But if someone's willing to pay it, I don't hate someone for trying to go out there and get a bag. And Flory Badunga is probably going to get a significant amount of coin. Louisville is a unique selection for Flory Badunga. Because with Duke on the table, Michigan on the table, Arizona on the table, you would think, that makes sense. Louisville with Pat Kelsey, that's a little strange to me. But he ends up finding a home in Louisville, and Kansas is going to have Louisville for an exhibition game, and I think there will be a good amount of people that will probably boo Flory Badunga. But the guy went out there, got paid more money than what he did at Kansas. And here's the other thing, too. Keep going back to what happened last year. He entered the portal once already with a do not contact tag. If he entered again, he's not going to return. He's not going to want to go back to Kansas. So he finds a new spot, gets paid more. Kudos to him, I suppose. 316-666-2285 is the number. Feel free to chime in. Kansas fans, how you feeling about Cole Rosario coming back or expected to come back for a sophomore season? Jack, where do you stand on Cole Rosario returning and also Paul Mbia not being a guy who was entering the portal, but yet he's not in the portal. So what do you make of Kansas as of right now with Cole Rosario and Paul Mbia?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to have a couple of these guys back and, kind of know that there's some developmental pieces that you can work with. I mean, I thought that Cole Rosario late in the season should have gotten more playing time. Same goes for Paul Mbia, and to have to reload the entire roster. Not saying it would have been impossible, but I feel like you would have wanted to take a few of the guys from last year. And, of the options that were going to be flippable, if you will, to have a chance to convince them in coming back, these were two guys that I think were on the fence. I mean, I wouldn't have blamed Cole Rosario for leaving because he went from starting to not even getting into the games. Paul Mbia was a guy that decided to not go to NC State and then come to Kansas and yet could never get into the game. But now that you convince them to come back, I'd have to imagine there is some large role there. I'm sure Paul Mbia can be the backup big instead of being the number 3 guy off the bench. And I'm sure Cole Rosario will have a really good chance to start. Otherwise, I don't think he would have decided to come back to KU. The key for him, because we know the athleticism's there, we know that he can rebound, we know he can defend. It's going to be about how well he can shoot the 3, because that's why they recruited him in the first place. It's nice to see the athleticism to have that type of bounce, but his best attribute will be shooting the ball and probably being one of those corner specialists. I know he wants to broaden his game more than that, but for KU, getting the most out of him, he's going to have to be a 38% plus 3-point shooter next year. And I'm sure KU believes he can get to that point. It's all about knocking him down early in the game, because I think last year he'd miss a couple early on and then get a bit gun shy, where he's a guy, the shot looks good, keep shooting. Shooter's going to have to get more looks, going to get more opportunities. Otherwise, they're not going to guard you. And if the end of the season was any indication, I think that he could be bound for a big breakout in 2026, 2027.
All right, we got to take a break. Royals talk when we return. I know that's not necessarily all that exciting, but we do got to talk about the boys in blue. 316-666-2285 is the number. Feel free to hit us up. I tend to forget that I turn my phone into do not disturb mode. One person said, let's face it, Rosario could have been a senior last year. Yeah, 100%. That's what I mean. This is a guy who decided to redo some things and decided to go to KU early. I think you saw exactly what happened there for Cole Rosario. But with him returning, I have high hope, especially the way that he works. I know talking to Trace, I keep saying that, but it's so true. Talking to him, just the work ethic is there for Cole Rosario. Now we just got to see it officially transition into a successful season for him out there on the floor. I saw that same as Calderon. He is joining Butler. Yes, he's going to Butler. No, not Butler Community College. He's going to Butler to play for the Bulldogs. We'll get to a Mount Rushmore Monday in a little bit. Up next, we'll talk about the boys in blue. I want to give you a chance to win some Kansas lottery tickets. I need you to call 316-669-4996. That's 316-669-4996. $30 worth of Kansas lottery tickets. Be caller number 5. Did you know you can play Kansas lottery on your smart device? Yes, you can. Play on. That is something that you can download and be a part of. And with these tickets, if you don't win, you can use them for a second chance drawing that would get you some big-time cash, potentially some big-time cash. 316-669-4996. Be caller number 5. Up next, Royal Stock here on The Pulse.
You're tuned
Live
into
read.
The Pulse on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
What's up, Wichita? Is life crazy right now? It might be for those who are juggling multiple things like work, family, and also the needs of an aging parent. If that fits you, Kansas PACE can provide the help you've been looking for. You'll have peace of mind knowing your parent is receiving expert, compassionate care while living at home. PACE provides, let's be real, they provide everything. And I know that because I saw it up close and in person not too long ago. They provide all the medical care your parent needs with their doctors, nurses, and specialists and therapists who specialize in older adults. They provide in-home care as well. They take some of the weight off your back that comes with taking care of aging parents. They become your trusted partner in caretaking. Plus, they have an activity center packed with fun activities like bingo. Your parent will actually look forward to visiting. The medical clinic is right there attached to the activity center. Everything is in one place. If you need help taking care of an aging parent, it will be worth your while to check out Kansas Pace. It could just make your life and your parents' life much easier. Learn how they can help your family today at kansaspace.org. That's Kansas, PACE.org.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com.
All right, Jack, one more read, baby. One more read.
ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Until we get 8
Never
more
miss
tomorrow.
out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
If you're looking to win in Wichita, there's only one
Hey, that
place
means the station's
delivers
not going
every
under.
single day.
That's good.
Gillies Gambling
That's true.
Hall. We're talking over 1,000 gaming machines, more chances, more action, and
long
more
as their
big
pockets are
wins.
fat.
And when it's time to turn up the thrill, head to Trackside. Simulcast horse race betting unlike anything else in the region. Fast, exciting, and always in the money. Make no mistake, Gillies Gambling Hall is the best place to win in Wichita. Find out more by visiting playgillies.com.
Hi, this is Brian Davis with Davis Liquor Outlet. And this is Blake Davis with another deal on Michelob Ultra 24-pack cans, just $26.99. And Empathic Wines, excluding Inferno, 750 ml, only $9.99. Davis Liquor Outlet, each store independently owned and operated. Neighborhood locations with superstore prices.
In Kansas, truth is told in speed. Wide open, full bore, and no mercy. Season momentum earned 3 and 4 wide. Loud, intense, inches predicting outcomes. Blink and miss.
They bang sideways.
What
Are you doing
just
draft coverage
happened?
again next week?
Pure speed whipping across the plains.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I think we'll have like the 9-hour
NASCAR
show on
weekend at
Saturday.
Kansas Speedway, April 18th and 19th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
I know Soren and all of them will have first round, but I'm pretty sure I'll have to do Saturday and Sunday.
Cardinals. It starts with the
Okay.
Dylan's 2 for Tuesday.
Well, it just made me
with the
wonder,
Zumba Buckets.
because with
Wednesday,
us, because of the
11:05
wind surge,
day game.
so
Then a
I'm
Turbo
just trying to
Tubs Thursday
get an idea
at
of how many
6:35.
games we'll miss
Friday,
next week.
Post-game fireworks, Joey Chestnut and chili buns.
We'll miss
Saturday,
Thursday for
I'm
sure.
we'll get the schedule chili buns.
Yeah,
and we
no,
wrap it
we'll
up on
miss
Sunday with the kids'
Thursday
day.
for sure.
Tickets,
We always
go
have
to
first round.
windsurge.com and listen to the games on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Oh man, here I am telling you about all these lovely giveaways that we got going on. I just got sent something that is going to be intriguing for a lot of you, and it's also coming up in May. I'm sure we'll have some fun with those giveaways as well. We just continue to get more and more fun stuff. That's what we do. And we'll do our best to try to give you a chance to win all these things. This is why I go do not disturb, because as soon as I take it off, then all of a sudden I get blown up 80,000 times. Honestly, the challenges. The challenges. I swear, when I'm on from 2 to 4, it's usually the busiest is when I get hit up all the time. All right. That's first world problems. Like, I can hear all of you right now. Shut up, Pat. Just get the talking. Or maybe shut up. I don't know. Coming up here in a little bit, we have our Mount Rushmore Monday. Let's look back at the series for the Kansas City Royals and the Chicago White Sox. Jack, thanks for filling in on Friday. I know I had to shift some stuff around, and you had to take over. The game got over around 3:15. So I got into my vehicle, and I was listening to you talking about the series with the White Sox and what's coming up. And you did not beat around the bush. You said, listen, here's what's going to drive Kansas City to a series win. Brought to you by Davis Moore Chevrolet. You need to have good pitching outings, and then by the time you get to the series finale, Noah Cameron's got to do this. He's got to shove, and the offense is going to have to do this and do that. Well, it ends up being a disappointing split with the Chicago White Sox. And it's mainly because of the opponent. It's the Chicago White Sox, right? You shouldn't lose to the Chicago White Sox. Seth Lugo in that first game on that Thursday went 6 1/3, and he ended up giving up 4 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 4 Ks. Hey, that's good enough. Michael Garcia and Bobby Witt Jr. in that game, they combined for 4 hits. Your 3-4 guys, Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez, they combined to go over 7 in that first game against the White Sox, and Kansas City loses 2-0. All right, whatever. That's fine. 2-0. It's okay. That's going to happen from time to time. It's baseball. It's going to happen. But at some point, this offense is going to have to get going. Well, then in game 2, Chris Bubich was just incredible. 11 strikeouts for Chris Bubich, just 1 walk surrendered, and he also went 7 innings, and he did it on just 88 pitches. A career best 11 Ks. When talking with Lesky last week, I asked him about how impressive it's been seeing Chris Bubich go out there and log as many Ks as he has. He's got 23 in his first 3 games for 2026. In that game, Bobby Witt Jr. and Michael Garcia combined for 2 of the 7 hits. Carter Jensen ended up homering in that game, and Kansas City gets a 2-0 win. You get to the next one, Royals and White Sox. And Kansas City gets another 2-0 victory. What's the deal with 2-0 in this series? A 2-0 win for Kansas City. Michael Wacha, he basically outdoes what Chris Bubich does. Well, maybe that's not entirely true. 11 Ks is impressive, but Michael Wacha went 1 more inning with 8. He had 7 strikeouts, and he also threw 88 pitches. Vinny Pasquantino generated a run in that game. Salvador Perez got himself a hit. You had Michael Garcia at the top go 2 for 4 with an RBI. He also had a home run. Kansas City gets the win 2-0. The scoreless streak was 20 innings in a row there for Chicago. And then you get to yesterday, and I reflect back on Jack Johnson on Friday, all sorts of fired up, saying, all right, now this is where Noah Cameron, you get to this position, and Noah Cameron, you have him shove, and that's how you get the series win. Well, he only goes 5 1/3, surrenders 6 hits, 5 runs given up with 2 walks and 4 Ks. How on earth did the White Sox find a way to get this win? Their starter, or the starting pitcher in that game, goes 2 innings. After that, pitcher 2 goes 1/3 of an inning. Pitcher 3 doesn't technically log an inning. The 4th pitcher goes an inning. 5th pitcher, an inning and 1/3. 6th pitcher goes an inning. The 7th pitcher goes an inning and 1/3. The 8th pitcher goes an inning. You get what I'm saying. How on earth did Chicago get that win yesterday against Kansas City 6-5? The offense got a little bit going, so I bet that felt good. Bobby Witt Jr., he was able to get a couple of ribbies in that game. He walks 3 times, but yet he doesn't score. Vinny Pasquantino, he drove in a run, but he was 0 for 4. Salvador Perez was 0 for 4 yesterday. And Kansas City splits with Chicago, and sometimes in baseball you're like, hey, that's a major win. But no one's feeling that way at all with what we've seen in the most recent series with the Royals going up against the White Sox. And now you just sit here and go, it's still April. It's the middle of April. You're not going to make some big conclusions as of right now, right? You just can't do it. You can't sit here and go, you know what, the season's over. But there are some very disturbing signs with what we've seen from this Kansas City Royals team. It's a team that still has quality starting pitching, something that we already knew. But I think there was some question marks because of just the injuries that were sustained last year for the Royals. You look to the bullpen, up and down, to say the least. And then you wonder, does Kansas City do enough with its offense? Well, they go out there and get some different guys. But right now, you have Bobby Witt Jr., who's batting .271. The guy has started to get some extra base hits. He has 16 hits in total. And the guy this season in 16 games has scored just once. Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez, they're both batting .153. Vinny's batting 9 for 59 with 3 runs scored, 1 double, and just 7 RBI. Salvador Perez, 9 for 59. He scored 4 times. Out of his 9 hits, 2 have been doubles, 2 have been homers, but he only has 2 runs batted in. That's your cleanup. Vinny's your number 3. And right now, those 2 guys are just not cutting it. Like we said about Vinny Pasquantino before, though, guy is a slow starter. Salvador Perez, the age. Father Time is undefeated. Will always be undefeated. If you're Matt Quatrero, how you go about trying to address what's going on there? Can you really move some pieces around? Yeah, you always can. But who would end up taking the spot there at third? Who would end up taking the spot batting cleanup? Who are those guys that you would recommend in that role? But right now, that's the glaring issue. 16 games in. That's the glaring issue for this team that's 7-9. It's the middle of April. It's not May yet. There's still time for these guys to heat up. But man, do things got to change, especially when you have guys like Michael Garcia, who's batting .306. Now, he scored 10 times, but Bobby Witt Jr. has only scored once. He's only scored 1 time this year. And that's your stud. That's your star. Only getting home once. Oh, and if you want to add to it as well, the guy has swiped some bags this year too. One of the top guys to do that. He's got 8 stolen bases. And yet Kansas City can't find ways to get him home. Still early, but brutal as the Royals split with the White Sox. Jack, you're the Royals insider here with your very own Locked On Royals podcast. Was it last week that you did a podcast saying that you're not worried about Vinny Pasquantino? I think it was. I didn't get a chance to really listen to it, but I think I saw a post, right? Well, where do you stand today with Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez both hitting 153 and Bobby Witt Jr. just with 1 run scored here in 2026? I know you're not one to overreact, but what's your main takeaway from this past series against the Chicago White Sox?
Yeah, I mean, you hate to put everything on just 2 players, but I think we can call it as it is. They're the reason the Royals are 7-9. I mean, you just cannot have your 3-4 hitters hitting sub 160 and not hitting for power and not driving in any runs. I mean, they look about as lost as you possibly could look at the plate each and every time they're up there. The good news is you're 16 games in. The bad news is the offense didn't really have the luxury of starting this slow because of the offseason they had, because of how things went last season. It's not they can't change on a dime, but there's really nothing to indicate over the first 16 games they're really close to breaking out. And the other guys in the lineup, they're just not doing enough. I mean, they can't, have their 3-4 hitters hitting this poorly, and Bobby Witt Jr., as tough as it is to say, only hitting 270 without a home run.
Sure.
You need to have a lot more guys producing than are right now. You've had some really good pitching. The bullpen's been disastrous in the first 16 games, and you can feel fortunate to only be 7-9, but you also haven't capitalized on some poor starts around the league and finding a way to be anywhere from 3 to 4 games above 500. It's not that things can't turn around quickly. They could turn around on this road trip, but the unfortunate thing in baseball is you never really know. Sometimes you're going to go through some lulls. Sometimes you're going to have some hot streaks, and right now, once again, the Royals are struggling in April. They are notoriously a slow-starting team. They rarely have the offense going in the first month of the season. The last couple of years, it's really only been the pitching that's carried them. And here we are again talking about the same players that are struggling over and over and over again. I'm not sure if a lineup change will do anything. I mean, you still have to hit these guys every single day.
Sure.
Wouldn't be opposed to it for sure, but that's about as ugly of a series you can look at the plate. You should not be satisfied whatsoever with the split. I think that's really negative. I think going into that series, at bare minimum, you should have been taking 3 of 4, and you didn't get that done. And though it's April, you only get 12 games against the White Sox, and you're 2-2 in the first 4 against them. And that's a team that's going to lose over 100 games. You don't want to be giving those away no matter what month of the season it was. So I really don't think there's any positive you can take away from that series. I really don't think there's any positive you can take away from that homestand. That was, not the way you wanted to return from Cleveland. As bad as you looked, it didn't really appear that any fire got lit under them. And maybe the off day will do them some good. They have a Tigers team that's now won 3 in a row and a Yankees team that's lost 5 in a row coming up this week. And maybe you need to get away from Kansas City, get away from all the criticism and the struggles you've gone through. But really, this offense can't turn things on unless their 3-4 hitters are doing well. And right now, it's just not the reality. They're both about as bad as you can look in the first 16 games of the season.
No doubt. All right, we got to hit a break. Up next, we'll officially put the show to bed. We'll wrap it up with Mount Rushmore Mondays straight ahead on the Pulse.
The heartbeat of Wichita sports fans.
Your turn.
The Pulse on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Roll into excitement at Crosswinds Casino. Thursdays in April, it's the Dice Duel Hot Seat. Every 30 minutes from 4 p.m. to 9:30, 2 players will go head-to-head rolling dice for wins play. The highest roll wins up to $400 in wins play. Don't miss the action. Sign up for your club wins card at Crosswinds Casino and let the good times roll. So close, so fun. Visit crosswindscasino.com for details.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
The best barbecue deal in town is at Hog Wild. Right now, Hog Wild is serving up a $5.99 meal that's big on flavor and easy on your wallet. Get a 1-meat sandwich, your favorite classic side and a drink, all for just $5.99. Want brisket? Upgrade to our tender slow-smoked beef brisket for only $1.50 more. Pulled pork, juicy chicken, and hot links. Everything is smoked fresh, made daily, and piled high. This is real barbecue at a price that's hard to beat. When you want big flavor and a big deal, head to Hog Wild for the $5.99 meal deal today. Great food, great price, great barbecue. Join us for lunch or dinner or order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 6 locations in Wichita, also in Derby, El Dorado, Hutchinson, and Salina.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. Hog Wild, get some for you. But don't be late, we close at 8.
Hey, they got everything you need for your vehicle at Menards. Good maintenance equals longer vehicle life. And Menards carries automotive products to help keep your vehicle on the road. Protect your engine with Valvoline high-mileage synthetic blend motor oil.
I'll say, please play that one. That one is Toppers Plus one. We'll need that one.
Miles or more. Save big money on Valvoline motor oil. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
The 2026 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
Let's get started.
Live from the North Shore of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Have a unique blend of athleticism.
All the teams are sitting there just absolutely licking their chops.
The 2026 NFL Draft.
The Las Vegas Raiders select
Thursday, April 23rd through Saturday, April 25th on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors.
Your home for every moment of the NFL Draft. Coming to ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Well, today just flew on by. Man, was it quick. Overtime coming away tonight. That's following Seren Petra with the program. Tomorrow, come kick it with our friends at CBD American Shaman, Wichita, 21st and Rock, and the Tallgrass Shopping Center. I will be out there with Jeff and the gang. Should be lots of fun at CBD American Shaman, Wichita. All right, Jack. We always wrap up a Monday with a Mount Rushmore Monday. So what is the topic for today?
Let's do a Mount Rushmore Monday for ice cream flavors.
Ooh, ice cream flavors. Wonder if my wife is listening. Jack, whenever we do these things, when you have more food related stuff, she always seems to be listening at this time. Now, ice cream flavors. I will tell you this, some ice cream flavors overdo it. Some people do way too much. Sometimes the OG is all that you need. Like you'll see some people load up and go, yeah, I got 25 toppings in here. No. Just back up. Go simple. There's nothing wrong with simple things. With that being said, my number one for ice cream flavors. Someone just said black raspberry chocolate chunk. What's up, Bobby? 316-666-2285. My number one probably has to be my daughter's favorite, Grace's. I feel like it is. And that is chocolate chip cookie dough. I'm sorry. You already know what it's like just to eat chocolate chip cookie dough. Just raw cookie dough. It's amazing, isn't it? Just that in itself is amazing. Take that and combine it with ice cream? Are you kidding me? That's an easy number one choice for me. Chocolate chip cookie dough, my number one.
My number one is mint chocolate chip. Always has
mint chocolate
been.
chip.
I think, I think always will be. It's my go-to. I really like all kinds of ice cream, but if I'm going somewhere for the first time, I always hope that's on the menu.
Mint chocolate chip. The Office there, if you need I understand what the reference is from. My number two would be strawberry. I enjoy me some strawberry. If you want to be specific, sometimes I guess I can see this too. Vanilla plus strawberries. That's something that my dad always enjoys. I'm a big fan of that. So give me strawberry. Just pure strawberry is good. I always tend to be more sweet, like truly like that, rather than the chocolate aspect. I'm okay with chocolate. I know I just mentioned chocolate chip cookie dough, but I do enjoy strawberry. So give me strawberry, my number two.
I'll probably go with chocolate chip cookie dough as my number two as well. There's a place not far from here that I grew up going to that had the best version of the chocolate chip cookie dough. So that has to be top three on my list, so I'll put it number two.
Number three, cookies and cream. That is all reliable. That is one where I just go, you know what? If I want to switch it up from chocolate chip cookie dough, I still want something with a little bit of substance. Cookies and cream is stellar. That's my number three.
Number three for me, I'll probably go with Oreo. The Oreo blasts they have, or the M&M blasts at Sonic, those are really, really good. So you have any two of those toppings, I'll say they're tied for me as my number three.
Okay, so my number four, Fruity Pebble ice cream. There is a specific place. I'm trying to think if there's anyone here in town that serves it. It's a good thing that I don't know that. It's a good thing that my wife and I don't know that, because my wife, when she was pregnant, I had to drive 70 miles to go get Fruity Pebble ice cream. I kid you not. and I found a way to bring it here and so on and so forth. And, so good. Fruity Pebble ice cream. There's a place up in Salina that serves it. And my goodness gracious, is it good. So Fruity Pebbles to round out my Mount Rushmore.
I think my last one will be cheesecake ice cream, if you can get that type of batter
Shocking.
in there. So.
You would choose cheesecake ice cream? No, no way.
Yeah, that's delicious. That has to be number 4 on my list.
As someone who loves cheesecake, I'm not surprised. That would be your go-to. Some text, 316-666-2285. Cookie dough heated up for about 25 seconds in the microwave, topped with vanilla ice cream. I might have to give that a go, texter. Adam, you shouldn't be listening, man. Take care of your wife. Adam just had a little baby girl on Friday. Congratulations, Adam. Sorry if I overshared, but congrats. Grace has amazing taste. You're not wrong, Adam. She does. She does have amazing taste. All right, we're done for the day. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back at it again tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Come see us at CBD, American Shaman, Wichita. For producer Jack Johnson, I'm Pat Strathman saying so long, Wichita. Have a good evening. We'll see you tomorrow.